The Wild Wild West.
And we're live. Joel Blaeser, what the fuck is going on,
Thank
dude?
you.
Thank you for coming. Doesn't it feel good?
Yes.
Feels good, dude. Every now and again, just to jump in hot. Get the juices flowing. So, Joel Blaeser, so we met in Milwaukee. I saw you on Soft White Underbelly, and I was taken by it. I was like, dude, this is crazy. Honestly, I think you're one of their best guests. They've done some.
Thank you.
They've interviewed a lot of people, but, you kind of struck me, bro. I saw you. I said, damn, this guy is the man. And we talked, and then eventually we met in Milwaukee.
It was pure accident. I had this fucked up post on Instagram. My phone's off. It's like, you're talking right to me. You didn't even see me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, and I grabbed my phone and I'm like, okay, no, they're going to kick me out. You can't turn the phone on because I wanted to erase it. It was just some fucking negative bullshit. Mean? Like, because at the show, you can't turn your phone on.
Right.
So then I go out, and I wouldn't even have turned my phone on had I not had that thought, which is that you inspired me from the thing. And then you're like, dude, I saw you come back to the green room.
I couldn't have missed you. I'm obviously stealing your grip right now. I couldn't have missed you.
That was fucking rad as fuck, dude.
My friend, I think Nate, you met Nate.
Yes.
Nate comes back. Oh, no, I think it was AJ. AJ comes back and he's like, yeah, there's a guy like in all white in the front row. And I was like, I know who that is. That's Joel Blaeser. I was like, dude, hell yeah. So, yeah, we talked a little bit. And then we met, dude. You're the fucking man. We met in Milwaukee. You gave the signed copies to Nate and AJ of your book.
Yeah, I gave him a little note.
Letters from Marion. The notes were, I thought, beautiful, man. I gave them their books and we were reading them. I'm like, they're just beautiful notes. You're the man, dude. You're an absolute beast. But we went to the steakhouse, 5 o'clock steakhouse.
Yes,
might have been the best steak I've ever had in my life, dude. I'm not lying.
It was good.
It was so good. And then the thing that really killed me was, I've never seen this happen before. When you showed up, you had an incident with gasoline.
Oh my God, dude. Dude.
You smelled like gasoline. You showed up. We were all sitting there eating, and I'm like, I thought you were working with power tools all day. So I'm like, maybe he was like chainsawing all day or something. You come in, I'm like, I don't want to be rude to him. What the fuck? Why do you smell like gas?
The motherfucker clicked. I'm sitting in the car. The thing's full. It clicked. I pull it out. Dude, and it just was squirting, and it just squirted on the car and splashed.
Yeah, you got drenched with gasoline.
Like, that is wicked.
Bro, I swear to God, it was such a pungent
I'm like,
smell.
what am I going to do?
You had to just show up. It was a beast move.
You could have lit me on fire if you were smoking cigarettes.
I seriously was concerned. I was worried someone was going to order like a flambe or something, and you would have went up, because it was a thick gasoline smell. Although that's kind of the most manly cologne.
Maybe we could start it. Letters from Marion, gasoline.
But yeah, so and this is what kind of got my interest. I watched you on Soft White Underbelly, and you had the story basically about going to a Supermax prison for selling, LSD. And the case was crazy. We talked about it. It was just, you sent, LSD in the mail, Western Union. Some guy got caught. He never got even caught with it, right?
No, his friend got caught.
Okay.
And then his friend just told on him. They showed up at his front door, and he just told him this crazy story.
Right.
So wasn't indicted. He just
completely
right on his front step.
Jesus Christ. And then he gave you up, and then you got on some bullshit trial where it was like, you never got caught with drugs, but there was enough circumstantial evidence to suggest that you had used a fake name to Western Union money and LSD around, and they sentenced you to, you said they were
151 months, 12 years, 7 months, which I jumped for joy. That was short.
Yeah.
I was facing 40 and I get 151. I looked at my mom and I just went like this, like,
really? You turned around?
Yes. Cause I'm like, it's 151. Like, I'm
True.
At least 40 when you're 23,
your whole life. You're done.
You're like, how do you look down that hallway?
True.
151. It's like, okay, I can file some appeals. Maybe I'll get lucky. And I did.
Mm.
But
and that was 1992. So this 92. Is like, it's crazy to think about the drug laws back. There's even like weed back then. Like, you could go to jail for like 4 or 5 years for selling weed if you had enough.
When we drove through Texas or Vegas, Nevada, like the older deadheads, like the shit was hid. You couldn't do anything. Ponytails back. Like, you just had to get through the state, especially Texas. They said, if we get pulled over and they find weed, we are all going to prison.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now look,
Yeah, well,
And so we paved the way. I should put a collection bucket out.
you should, dude. You should. Well, that's
The young people have no fucking clue, man.
yeah. Even the early 2000s, it was like you could go to jail for like little bullshit like weed and stuff. I guess they obviously softened the
There's still
penalties.
some. There's 25 states where it's illegal, right?
Yeah, Texas. It's still illegal. Like if you Austin, you're fine. If you have weed in Austin, they don't care. If you leave Austin, you can still they'll like throw you in the
Because in front of the hotel,
everybody.
everybody.
They don't care in Austin, but if you isn't that right, Josh? I think if you leave Austin and you get caught with weed, like I knew someone who
So it's decriminalized in Austin proper.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, they don't prosecute it at all. It's not.
It's the lib side.
It's a lib. This is a lib haven. Yeah, they actually have like decent food here, but you got to deal with all that stuff. But yeah, man, you can in Austin. I think I knew someone who got pulled over with a vape cartridge and got like held overnight.
In Austin.
No, outside of Austin. So Austin's a safe haven.
So they can. Where do they sell it here?
Yeah, it's like now we have that weird stuff where it's like the hemp.
It's one little
the
thing.
hemp bill.
Yeah,
The hemp bill.
Oh yeah,
allowed,
the farm bill.
Exactly.
Because if you get it from hemp, you can. It's like
yeah. Or the big thing's THCA because THC is what's illegal. THCA. You have to like heat up weed to make brownies.
carbolic.
Yeah, decarboxylate or whatever.
Yep.
So now if you have that extra carbon molecule that heat removes from literally of a lighter, it's technically legal because you can be like, well, this is hemp. It's weed's legal now, by the way. So.
But is it medically legal here?
No. Texas is like I think it's I don't think they even have a medical
I think
program.
all drugs should be legal, and the world would be way different. That's really one of the driving forces behind the book. It's to be part of that wave.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's like
it hasn't worked.
No.
I mean, look at the prisons.
Well, what happened with Portugal? Didn't Portugal? Yeah, I mean, obviously locking people up for years.
They did. It
doesn't
was
work.
much smaller. The Cato Institute did a big study. I wrote a couple op-eds for that. I don't remember all the statistics, but they would track it all the way to like when kids first tried drugs. Like it just had a positive impact on all the metrics of drug use, amount of drug use, when they stop. And then when you go in to do it, they say, if you get addicted or you want help, here it is. But there's a lot of moms whose young daughters and sons have OD'd and died that if it was legal, if they were at one of those places, they wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
And you take the Mexican cartel would go out of business like that. Think of that. So
that's the big one. Yeah. Well, that's the. But here's the thing. I read the book Chasing the Scream by
yeah.
Great book.
Yes.
They talk about that
Yes.
how like in London they would give people heroin, and then if you had someone if they had to go to a center and the heroin was clean, like there were way less deaths. But now the critique in America is like the
well, it's a cesspool. America did it wrong. Like Oregon and Seattle are just like a whole area of
exactly. And it does give the harm reduction stuff a bad name because it's like if you just let people lay on the street and you're like, oh, here's needles. And then my friend Jared Klickstein was actually living in Skid Row for a while, and he said the problem was you like throw these guys in like an apartment, like, oh, here we're gonna give you housing, and then they OD and die, and nobody finds them because they're by themselves. Rather, if they're outside.
But
People can at least discover them.
if both metrics were the same, legal and illegal, there's still the metric of the criminal elements out of it. And we get
Exactly.
the money that we can bring back in.
Yeah, that's true. And it's also, it loses a lot of the allure. It's like, if you're telling me if
Yes.
I got to go to like a professional office building to like go do heroin, I'm going to be like,
You're going to start to question it. You're going to think,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
what
Where's
the
my
fuck am I
life
doing?
going?
Yeah, what is it? What the fuck am I doing? It's not the thrill of like, you're getting it. It takes the rock and roll element out of it. Which I think could work. And it always is a personal choice. It is like, it comes down to personal choice.
What I do with my head is my business. Can a government really tell me?
Yeah, well, apparently they told you. They sent you to jail for fucking
Fuck.
15 years. So, dude, you have a book. It's called Letters from Marion. I read it. I love the book, dude. I thought it was
Thank
great.
you.
Book was fantastic. It
You
kind of
gave me that shout out about the jack rag on another podcast.
Yes, I did. I did. Actually,
I parted it too.
dude, I'm glad. It's got to cross a weird threshold though for other prisoners to be like, "Yo, here's how you jerk off." Because I know in jail it's like,
Nikki at the third place. Yeah, Nikki told me. He started to tell me, and I thought he was fucking with me.
yeah,
And I'm like, but he's not gay. Sparky already got me stoned with all this weed. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to try it.
Right
and I
on.
did. And it was wicked.
and it was. What was the technique again? You rolled the socks inside out.
So it's smooth. And then you're not actually like going up and down on the shaft. And it's hard. It's hard when you get a really big hard on, but you grab the shaft And then that heat will create it. And then right at climax, boom, right on top and underneath.
Put some pressure on it.
It has an effect, man.
That's crazy.
I mean, like most, don't guys know that?
Oh, man, I don't know. I've never tried the sock and the fucking pressure plate at the end.
So you turn it inside out and then you fold it over so it's a little tight, right? And you got to get a big sock. But no, it works. And then it's all contained. No spill, no fuss, no muss. You don't have to buy a cab ride home in the morning.
True. Got to wash the sock, yeah. Got to wash the sock.
Throw that fucker out.
Throw it out.
After like 6 or 8 uses.
What? Oh, so you still wash it between.
Or I'll rinse it. But not, I don't want to put it in the machine.
Nah, true. You need to keep it pure. Yeah, you need to keep it pure. I get that. True. You don't want all those chemicals on you. So you were telling me, this made me laugh a lot. So you go to trial. You took your case to trial. You fight it yourself, which, that is honorable. You go take your case to trial. And then you were sentenced, like you said. What was the first thing you did upon sentencing? You go back to the cell. What was your play?
So it was
you're 23 years old.
Sobering experience. I went to that cell and I just started to think, what do I want to do? What am I going to do when I get out? Surfing, sushi. And then I'm like, somehow I got aroused.
Right on.
And the marshals were out of the office there. There's bars. And I just fucking hit it. I made myself come hard, dude. And then I'm like, get used to it, motherfucker, because that's all you got. And I think that's actually pretty good, like, to realization and just accepting this is what it is.
Dude, I mean...
And then who knows, maybe if I spent 151 months in there, I mean, I might have been getting my dick sucked. I don't fucking know. I don't think so. But after a certain amount of time, like, say if you're there for 30 fucking years, man.
I hear you.
You gotta be touched. Like, what the fuck?
Something's got to happen.
Yeah, or a guard. You get lucky with a female prison guard.
That'd be huge. That would be very lucky.
So I don't know. I've never had to deal with that, but
you never had it. That was your primary concern. You said going in, you didn't want to have to
get raped, get my asshole filled with cum. Can I say that?
You can say that. Yeah, it's your journey.
No, man.
Dude, that's a real fucking fear. I'd be terrified, man, because you were down where in like Kentucky.
Yes. That trial was in Covington, Kentucky, 6th District. The first prison was like really low and normal, but as it progressed, and the thing is, the face of the medium security prisons at that time changed. Mm-hmm. So normal medium security in the 80s, you might have bank robbers, couple drug dealers. The average sentence was maybe 10 years. But now there was every other fucking guy at 30, 35 years, and they're young. So it was like, that was like a penitentiary and a medium. Cause like, if a dude's got 35 or 40 years and he's 25 and he's disrespected, like what the fuck does he have to lose?
Exactly.
It's not like you have 8 or 10 and you got an out date and you're close, right? So like the tensions were different.
And also I did like that. I have to say, like, so you're there, that just being like, look, I've never tried sushi. I'm going to get that when I get out. I'm going to surf around the world when I get out. And then just like, and it is funny to like just jerk off, but there's something serious about that level of acceptance to be like, this is my situation. Because I feel like people in and out of jail struggle with that, of like just accepting your lot in life and just kind of like getting with the program rather than just constantly spinning yourself out.
Acceptance.
It's a big thing.
It was luck. I don't know how I look back. What the fuck?
And why you were wise. You were definitely at 22 to be like, all right, this is what it is pretty crazy. I wouldn't have been able to take it. I would have been like, this is bullshit. There's no way. I would have been in total denial, I think.
When they arrested me, I thought to myself, as they're driving me in the car, like I had the thought, I'm like, I know a motherfucker who's got a kilo of coke. I'm thinking in my head, and I'm like, no. And they brought me to the courthouse in this room with Christopher Bick and a couple other agents. And they said, you're going to spend the rest of you're going to spend all of your fucking 20s and probably most of your 30s in prison. This is the best part of your life. And they said, we won't even process you. Just tell us you'll cooperate and help us. And it can stop right now. And I said, take me to my cell. Fuck you. Which was the hardest fucking thing.
Damn.
Because I knew I'm not going to jail then.
Yeah.
They threw the 18-count indictment on my lap when they arrested me, which I thought, holy fuck, that means they convened a grand jury. They've been fucking following me, trying to catch me with shit, which they were. So, yeah, man, that was that was a wicked situation. Then I got out on bail for like 4 months. And then out on bail, I got in trouble. So they arrested me. I don't know if I put this in the book. And then I had to go back to Kentucky through the federal prison system. And then once I got to Kentucky, there was a mix-up with getting the car. And then I got out again.
You did talk about
but
this, yeah.
I went through 6 or 7 prisons because the way the Marshal Service is like transfers you through. And then I went to this one in Oklahoma. Now they built a different one. But you actually went into a prison with like 6 tiers. And so I'm only have been arrested and formally charged, but I have not been convicted or sentenced. So I saw, in that point, I saw what prison was.
Yeah, well, okay.
Like really what prison was.
Yeah, you got to get your shuffle. So I remember that in the book. You had to get yourself down to Kentucky to get like arraigned or whatever.
Yeah, because they arrested me in Milwaukee, but the indictment was out of Kentucky. So they arraigned me here. They gave me pretrial probation. They said, you got to show up in 3 weeks. And
Kentucky. And you couldn't get to Kentucky.
Right.
Right.
And then like 2 days before, I called the marshals. They said, you got to get there. You got to get there. We're going to come arrest you. And then there was an issue with my getting a rental car. And then my brother wasn't going to let me use his car. And I fucked up.
Yeah. So they were pissed. So they had to literally transport you from Milwaukee down to.
But they don't go straight. You just get in the system and you go around. And then it took me like 31 days, couple county jails. But it was the one in Oklahoma City. I can't remember the name of the federal prison, but like you would go to the chow hall and you'd mix with the prisoners, like the wick, and it's just like, I remember Gene Gotti was there, I believe at the time, but it was like, holy fuck, man. Then I get to Kentucky. He gives me the bail. He's like, you can't fuck up. We're going to piss you, all that. He's like, but I'll see you. I don't know. The trial was in 4 or 5 months after that. No, I went back to Milwaukee.
Okay.
But if that could have made anybody rat.
Yeah.
Because you see, like, this is going to be home.
Oh, you weren't even, I see what you're saying. You weren't even like a fully sentenced yet. And the thing that struck, I didn't know.
I didn't even have the trial.
Exactly. So you got like a taste and you could have totally been like, bro, fuck this. I'm out. I did like the thing in the book where you talked about how they gave some people what was called diesel therapy. And they would just keep prisoners traveling just in perpetuity. That like
diesel therapy.
Dude, that's fucking terrible.
Because you maybe shower every 2 days. You're constantly in chains, belly chains, and the leg irons. And then, like, if you file complaints, and I'm sure they do it to people that they want to break, like maybe Secret Service people they think are selling secrets or whatever, like some sort of thing. And then it's also a threat. Like, like if you go on diesel therapy, you're basically on a bus like 7 days a week and stopping off only every couple days, and like in the big tanks with people, you're eating bologna sandwiches. Like,
yeah, and you don't know anyone, so you're just getting shuffled, or you're a stranger.
No phone
everywhere.
calls, no mail.
It sucks, dude. I never heard of that before. You always hear about the hole. That's the big one. You get sent to the hole, but
the hole's the jail within the jail. Like, it's crazy,
it's
right?
Super jail.
Yeah. The hole was pretty wicked. The thing is, like on the commissary slips, they sold at every single federal prison, they sold raw garlic. And when you went to the hole, there were certain things on the commissary they wouldn't let you buy. But you could always buy raw garlic.
Really?
Cloves. And like for the whole entire time, every single day, I'd eat 2 to 4 cloves every day. I just wanted to do it.
Yeah, it probably kept like infections at bay, and getting sick in jail would fucking no one ever thinks about getting sick in jail.
It's the thing. The light sicknesses you're gonna kind of get poo-pooed, but like if something's real serious, they take, because it's the feds, they will take you right out to the hospital.
Oh, that's cool.
But
well, my friend was in county jail, and that's the thing people don't know too. Apparently, county
County's
jail's
the
the
worst.
Exactly, that's what I've heard.
Cesspool wickedness.
It sucks. My friend was there, and he was an older guy, and he was in the county jail.
It's dirty. There's no
filthy.
regulation.
But he was there during COVID, and he said the guards were so like whacked out about interacting with the prisoners that he was like, they didn't come check on you at all, and the heaters were fucked up. So he was like, it was freezing cold.
It always is, and the air is recirculated, so you're getting dandruff.
Yeah, he was like, it's freezing cold, and he was like, I'm an older guy. He had he had health issues. He's like, if I had a health complication, I would have died, because like there was like a bell or a button they could ring to like get people to come, and he's like, they would all ring it. Nobody. Like for 8 hours a night, that people just wouldn't show up because they were like, we don't want, the guards were like, we don't want to be around the fucking prison,
right? Because even if you're federal holdover in a county jail, you don't get the federal Like if you were in a federal prison,
Yeah.
there's just like you're in the county. That's it.
You would think the county would be the nicer one because it's lesser. Well, at least you can be waiting to trial, but it's like usually if you get like a DUI, you think the conditions would be nicer to go serve a DUI sentence than like
It's got to be the worst
running
place
a
in
pyramid
the
scheme.
It's a pyramid scheme.
No, I'm saying like if you did like a high level crime, you get better jail conditions. Basically, you get better federal prison.
No,
versus, like,
well, once you get there,
yeah, it's true. But it was that just shocked me because my friend went and I was always kind of like, oh, you would think like federal prison's like worse than the county, but it's like he was like, no, it's actually way better. He's like,
oh yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So,
Yes,
but either way,
definitely.
so once you were there, and in the book you move around a lot, and also there was one
Doesn't
thing,
it come together at the end though?
I like it.
did.
Yeah, I like it. You did it. You did a good job of like chronological leaps because it's like you're talking about your one time period, like I'm waiting trial. And then like you're jumping to like being released and the stuff you were doing after that, and then back. And I thought you pulled it off. The chronological jumps.
Thank you.
You pulled off. The letters were. So what was your thought? Because within the book,
It's too many.
Well, here's the thing. I think they were fine, but you gave a pretty serious glimpse into like the psyche of a incarcerated, young.
Some
person.
of it was a little too deep.
I loved it. I thought it was great. But like the best is when you send a letter to your brother being like, "I'm gonna fucking destroy you when I get out of here. I'm so jacked." I was that made me literally laugh out loud in my bed. I was reading that. I'm like, what a funny fucking thing just to be in jail. Be like, I'm gonna fucking beat your ass when I get out of here. I'll be so strong. Which I'm sure you're fucking around with your brother, but it was like, yeah, the letters did like the story. Was flowing. The letters like they really gave it some kind of like some weight to it, man. It was like some of those letters were like,
thank you,
kind of dark in a good way. I thought it was cool because here's my thing, you didn't have to put those in there, and you did, and you really showed kind of an unfiltered like view of how you were, and it was cool. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, I wanted to do the envelopes to prove I was there, and then Hillary wanted me to type the letter out, but then I'm like,
no,
that means it could be edited. If this letter, this is it. Like you can't change that.
So with the letters, there was I didn't know what you were talking about. You were asking your mom for photos. What was the photo?
Oh, for Playboy.
What?
My parents met at Playboy, and she posted
That I heard.
photo.
Yeah, that I knew.
Yeah.
So what did you want the photo for?
Just to have. I don't know. No, so we would see the photos like when we were little, and so they weren't all
They're
naked
not nude.
photos.
Yeah, obviously,
They're not all nude, but she has a couple, and then on the back it says Playboy Studios. But I think I had a bet or something with someone or some reason ulterior. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
but I got the picture and I showed. I said, "Look, Playboy Studio."
Yeah, that was the one.
I think it was a bet.
That was a letter I saw in there. There's no context on the letter, so I like kind of like looked it up and I was like, okay, that's what I thought it was. You wanted the Playboy photos for a bet. You never said that in the book. So
No.
when you're reading it, you're going, this is a freaky ass bull, dude.
In prison, I'm going to be jacking off to my mother.
I would never say that. I would never say that.
No, but you're right. That's a reasonable thought. How fucked up does this dude get? He's jacking off to his mother. Oh my God.
I'd never say so. God damn, it just made me laugh because I was reading the book and I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about, these photos? And that makes sense. You had a bet with somebody. They didn't believe you.
No. Gary. I'm pretty sure it was Gary.
He didn't
It
believe
might
you.
not have been a bet. It might have just been, look, I want like hey, my parents met at Playboy. Check this out. Like,
Yeah, that was
really
an
good
interesting
post.
story too. That was so how did that go down?
I think it happened on Lake Parkway at the mansion, Hugh Hefner's mansion. My dad collected money.
Mm-hmm.
He worked in the credit department. My mom worked in some area where like you're just kind of the traditional whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they met at the party. And then they married. I think they married in 1963, November 22nd, the day John Kennedy was shot. And I think they met in 1961, but they both worked at Playboy. And then Pompeo Posar was a big staff photographer, just hounded the shit out of my mother until she relented to pose. So, but the rest of the story, which I've never told anyone, probably never happened in the history of Playboy. So she posed. They picked her for centerfold. Everything was set, typeset and everything, and she fucking freaked out.
And she was like, take it out. I don't want to do it.
She's like, no. But she still stayed working there for another year and a half. But they said, no one's ever done this. Like said no.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I can't do it. She was sort of traditional Italian,
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Catholic.
Especially back
But
then.
it's 60.
Especially back then. Like, people now wouldn't care because people have, like, OnlyFans and shit. But, like, yeah, back then, that was a big deal.
She was old-fashioned like that. Pull the chair out, like, just...
What was the thinking, though? Why? I guess if you're in the environment, you get kind of... They do that at strip clubs a lot, too. They'll take the bartenders, and they'll be like, yeah, you should get up there. It's just when you're in that environment, they're probably just kind of pushing you.
Well, she was super fine.
Really?
She was extremely fine. Yeah, no, unbelievable. Like, okay, I had a party at the Lake Estate. The Super Bowl was February 4th, and my friend was there, and my mom came into the kitchen, and so I'm, I don't know, 40. My mom's 65 probably. Now she's my mom, so like but petite and perfect.
You were cursed with a hot mom.
So she leaves the kitchen and Bob's there. It's probably 5 years my elder. He's like, dude, your sister is so fine. Can I get her? Can I call her? And I said, it's my mom. And he's just like, oh, wait, he walked out. Like that's who she was. But she wasn't like, what's the word? Like she didn't act like she was. But she was.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it like growing up with like a hot mom, basically?
How could I know the difference?
What do you mean? Oh yeah,
you know what I
can't
mean?
say. Yeah. I always wonder what that was
looking
like.
back, like the way people reacted to her and would talk to her, like when we would travel, like they were very attracted to her. I don't know. It probably helped me. I mean, am I ugly?
No, yeah, no, not a good-looking guy, dude.
I think she might have been able to do a lot better than my dad, though, right?
Yeah. So what was in the book? You include some stuff like you guys had a rocky relationship, and then he just died.
Yeah. So
how was that? Because you go into it's kind of jarring because I read it. It's like you guys have this
it's almost
physical
unbelievable
altercation, and then he dies that day.
So the week before he died, maybe 2 weeks, we were at the dining room table, and I'm like, dude, I think something's wrong with you. I think you're going to die. I've been having these dreams. It happened with my grandmother. He said, I'm fine. I had the cholesterol check. Everything's good. Then the day before, so what was it, October 15th, 1989? 1988. Because the first time I took LSD was a year later on that date, unbeknownst to me. And so we got in a fight over something. The cakes went flying.
Oh, it was like a birthday.
Someone's cakes, was it my mother's? Someone had a birthday coming. And then so we had the fight and I ran out of the house and I was kind of a fuck up. I got this new job, and then at the job I started to panic and freak out. They had trained me and I said, I got to go home. Something's wrong. And then he died right in my arms.
Damn, that's crazy.
Which is fucked up.
Yeah, and you were, early 20s. It's got to be a pretty heavy experience.
No, 20.
Or 20 years
19.
old. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe I was 21. 69, 89, 88, 19.
Okay. Damn, that's pretty wild. Yeah, that was just like a quick thing mentioned in the book, but I was like, that's kind of.
But then what happened in Marion, like so, like in the world, like in nature, there's no wasted energy, and if you live to be 80, you've had 6 years of dreams.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy,
right? And so, like once I got to Marion, from this very first day to the day I left, every single night I'd dream, and we'd meet and we'd talk and we'd get it out.
That's cool.
Every fucking day. So like I made peace with it somehow. But yeah, there was a rocky relationship. I mean, my dad suffered from PTSD. He fought in a war. And I don't know if because you mentioned it when you did your thing about hitting a kid.
Yeah,
is that really the way? So 5 or 6 year old boy, like that's, It didn't happen all the time, but it happened enough to where it's like it's significant, right? But it doesn't have to define who I am today.
For sure, yeah.
So I don't know. Does that answer your question?
No, yeah, that does. It was like a heavier moment, and I thought this was kind of interesting too in the book. This was kind of like the crux of the tale. Was like you're in jail, you know, you're kind of having a good time. You're, you know, selling a little black tar heroin.
I was finance my weed. Oh my God. That's just the hypocrisy of it, right? Like we're going to keep this shit illegal?
I know.
What the fuck?
It is crazy. But for me, it was crazy that you just tried heroin and were like, man.
Oh yeah,
cool.
I said the whole thing with drawing the needle back and the blood coming in.
Was that like creepy as fuck doing that? Like I don't like needles at all. That's why.
No,
you know,
it was creepy as fuck. And the thing is, it just felt like I was really stoned. So I'm like, I'm not. Why would I want to do this other than smoke pot?
Yeah,
because then I'm getting physically addicted. I'll be sucking dick to get more or whatever.
For sure.
Like,
yeah. So it wasn't this like otherworldly.
Oh, that's the thing. That's it. That's the other thing. When I jacked off in this thing, that's the third thing. So when I was out, that was very significant. So when I was there, I said sushi, surfing, and when I was out selling LSD, they thought you were an alcoholic or doing coke or heroin, you could not get the good LSD. You were done. And they always trained you for safety first. And it's like they knew, they could see in my soul, this motherfucker will not rat. Somehow they saw that. And when I jacked off, I said, I'm going to fucking try once. I want to just try it. I want to stick a needle in my arm and I'm going to try heroin.
Was that because of Jerry Garcia was he like into heroin then, or that wasn't until like the 90s?
I don't know the whole history. He was in it, I mean, probably from the beginning, but when he got addicted, it was definitely in the 90s. Bad, really bad. And then he went to the Forest Knolls or Serenity Knolls and then he died. I don't know if it's because of that, but it was no, it wasn't because of that. Because the people that do heroin and coke and are alcoholic, they're not thinking safety first. Right. And then they bring that heat on. People, because they're in the circles of the heavier drugs, where LSD was very clandestine. Yeah. So
okay. That makes sense. So that was part of your thing. Like I'm going to try heroin too once. Now I can do it.
Yeah. That was the three things I promised myself.
You were getting crushed by the corporate lifestyle of selling LSD. So you're like, I'm going to.
I was always to get to the next show. Like, because if you went broke, you could sell grilled cheese and beer and make $600 or $800, buy 20 or 30 sheets, go to some city for 2 weeks with someone that you just met or they know the city, and then make $4,000 or $5,000 and you're good for like the whole tour. Yeah. I mean, $2,000 or $3,000 in the 80s on tour, it was like, you're set. True. And you got 3 or 4 guys in the car, but like there's always was the juxtaposition. It's like, I'm risking my fucking life for a little bit of money, even though I believe in it. Like, so that was the dichotomy of wickedness.
I mean, how fun was that? Just being, a younger,
that was amazing.
Basically, just following around the Grateful Dead.
It was beautiful because like those people accepted me. It was like a family, and it was just like love. The scene in the parking lot when I went to the first show was unbelievable. Like it just was what was missing at home.
That makes sense.
And it was beautiful. But no, it wasn't like I was in fear because I've sold very little drugs at a show. I would meet people and like make things happen, but it wasn't like I was out there, doses, mushrooms,
you weren't really getting after it like that.
And you didn't have to, because you could do grill cheese and beer and do fine and make money. And then, the acid connects. And then like these people who did the LSD, like we'll just say Rainbow, the Vesuvian Man? Yeah. So one side had that, and then the one side was surfing hippie ladies. And then the sheet is 1,000 hits, which is like maybe a 7x10. And then 10 of those is like accordion. So that's 1 gram of LSD, which looks just like a gram of cocaine. And then they would pay someone to batik those sheets with each square of 100 hits would have the Vitruvian Man from what's his name? Da
Vinci.
Yeah, Da Vinci. And the other side would be the surfing hippie ladies. But that piece of paper was like artwork. You could not counterfeit that.
That makes
so
sense,
if I saw one of those sheets on the lot, I'm like, all right, Rainbow's here. I'm going to search them out. Like I know I can get, and then they would front me anything, but I would never, they would front me 10 grams, which is 100,000 hits. But I would like, what am I going to do with it? And they would train me. Like, if you ever think there's heat around the corner, like throw that shit away. You just have to stay safe. Like one time we did a 10 strip and like, they were just with me when they met me. And
you took 10 hits, you're saying?
Yeah. And they could tell somewhat, however they told, they could tell, but like I was in.
Damn.
You know, I was
What was that like when you like that was your first experience? Was that your first experience with LSD?
No, the first one was the year anniversary of my dad's death. I was with new friends that I met, and we were in the show. They were blue unicorns, and there were lights like this on the ceiling, and we just kept eating the LSD because I'm like, I don't think it's real. I don't think it's real. It was her second time, and then I don't know. I probably got to 8 or 9. And then all of a sudden we're like, this is real. But then we just spent the next 15 hours together. We were at the show. It was the most beautiful, lovely experience. Like you were just in the moment. It's hard to explain in words. But that was a beautiful trip. But the time I took the 10 was Northern California. And like you could sleep. I mean, pure good LSD is not... I don't think it's really harmful unless you have something psychologically that's really impending you, or the precursor to the trip. Like if you just got in a wicked fight with your ex-wife and she's taking the kids and you got to double the alimony, and then that might be bad.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you were saying in the book too, these people who were like, there was only a few people who were able to somehow secure the ingredients necessary to make LSD, because it is hard. I knew a guy in a lab, and he could make almost anything, but he's like, I can't make LSD.
Ergotamine tartrate. No, it's a substantial amount of glassware, and it's not just some bathtub shit to get pure LSD 25. It took some time, and so the other thing is like, and you're not just gonna you're gonna end up with millions and millions of hit with a batch. You know, so it's like you're gonna have a lot. But those people that I met, they never were about bling bling. They were specific to safety first and wanting to bring about radical social change. And when I was in prison, I met people from Caracas and all down South America, these big, huge coke dealers. And this one dude, I remember his face, I can't think of his name. And he sort of made me start to think even more about it, because he said like when the LSD came and he knew about Owsley, he knew all this stuff about like the scene, but he was like this wicked cocaine dealer, but he was so smart. And he said when that LSD came in, it's when people were rioting in the government and we wanted to overthrow things. And he's like, that stuff brought about radical social change. So it makes sense that the government wanted it illegal, but who knows why? Maybe they found some truth serum way to like make people. Yeah, they didn't want Russia to get it, but they did a lot of stuff with alcoholism too.
Yeah, that was a big thing for AA. I think LSD.
Bill wanted it everywhere.
Yeah,
and then there's at the Jefferson in the 50s. They did, when I was in prison, they had a show with Barbara Walter on LSD. And the whole was sentencing and everything. And so in the 50s, they did this thing where they would take alcoholics, non-AA, they take them on one bad trip, seriously bad, and show them everything they did wrong, and they filmed it. And then on Barbara Walters Inside Federal Prison, they had like the dude's daughters or sons, and they're like 70 or 80. And they said the LSD saved our lives like our dad or mom never took another drink. They completely changed them.
Damn.
So that was a small study.
How much? Do you think how much they were giving them? They were probably back then. Too,
I think it was they showed it was 1,000 mics. They showed that it was from Santos. They called it Dicelin or something like that, and they would give them 1,000 mics. But they literally would take them on a horrendously negative trip the whole entire time in a thing with doctors and like.
Well, it's weird too because
and then it would infect them forever till they died.
Dude. I mean, imagine and again in the 50s, like LSD, like I grew up hearing about it. You have like a context for what it is, like it's like it's like hippie stuff and
jumping out the window, you're gonna die.
Yeah, or even being like say I was following like fish, and if I was a kid, I would have been like, yeah, it's like weed. It's like you get high, but in the 50s, if someone just hit you with 10 hits of LSD in a lab and like, get your fucking life together, I'd be like, I
always thought it was going to make you go crazy. I mean, I didn't take LSD till I was 1989, 20 was the first time. And so I had a few times at shows I would buy a sheet or two from someone I didn't know, and I just would sell it at high school. I'd say, is this real? And I did mushrooms a couple times, but like, even though I thought I was a free thinker, there was like, you're going to take it and you're going to want to fly and jump out a window. Like somewhere that got started, because that was always in my head, but it wasn't that dangerous. But I don't know if it's for everyone.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But I think that if a big slice, like if you go to Gaza, right, then Terrence McKenna would go all the way to group sex, but he's like, you get both sides, Palestine, the Jews, and let's all take some LSD and sit in a room. I guarantee you they're going to fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
And they might start fucking each other.
That'd be sick.
Right?
That'd be sick.
I mean, the peace on earth, man.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like it could, do that. It is unfortunate because I like you were saying, it's not for everybody, and I have seen people who abuse it kind of lose it. Like
LSD?
yes,
So I've never seen that. I believe it,
but I think you have to have underlying stuff already, kind of
he
kicking around.
abused it like daily.
They were just there was like every weekend, just boom, like and like constantly. As you said in your book, you didn't take it
less than a dozen times because
Exactly.
it's so profound. What do you need?
These guys were every weekend the nitrous. They were just partying with it, and I remember.
Wow.
I see the one guy. I was in a grocery store, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" He was working there. I'm like, "How you
It's
doing?"
just-
Dude, he cornered me. He's like, I'm fighting a battle against light and darkness. And I was like, oh, boy. I was like, all right, bro. I was like, I'm going to grab my stuff and get out of here. But it was, yeah, I remember this guy. But again, it could have been just like underlying stuff. Because that is like, if you take a person who already has, even if like, they could have like had a job and just been a little weird or whatever. But it's like, if you've really kind of ramped that shit up and it's like, you don't give them any kind of like way to work through all that stuff. It's like, yeah,
no, you're right.
It makes sense. You would lose your fucking mind.
Because you have psych now. What is that?
That was I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. I have an idea with what I want to do, but I got obsessed. So I've always liked psychology. So I've always liked psychology. And then I went to school for social work to get my master's. And
Yes.
I wanted to start something like AA that's just not centered around drugs, where you can kind of get people.
Anything.
Yes. Who are like, I could talk to people who are, like PhDs or whatever, and have them help me come up with some sort of program that could be peer led around like just mental health stuff in general. That way, like, you can't afford a therapist. If you can't afford a therapist, you could still have like a group that's like, it's not like therapy per se, but it would be using
Sharing.
the tools, yeah, like that. These people, like these PhD level people, make up, and like, how do you kind of disseminate them in a way that like it could be done in like a peer to peer thing? So that's my goal, and I'm still now looking for therapists now because I want to just salary a couple therapists now that I can to just kind of like run groups and like kind of like
See what?
curate the whole like online space.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's free.
How did you get that name?
I made it up. Psych no, I don't know.
I
It
like
sounded
it.
funny because but yeah. So that is my goal because we do need to figure something out collectively because this isn't it's clearly not working, dude. It's like the fact that we're immune to like kids shooting kids in school now. It's like it happens enough to where it's like, all right, dude. We need to organize ourselves mentally a different way. We're organized around one thing right now, and it's not really
Money?
not working. Yeah, pretty much. And it's like it's good. I don't hate money, but it's like it's clearly something's getting fucked up, and it's like I really feel like as human beings, we're organisms, and like we're not. It's hard for people to wrap their head around the fact for everybody that they're not like the most important person in the world. Because as an organism, if you think about organisms,
The cells. We're all a cell.
yeah, well,
if
you're an organism and you sense an organism that's bigger than you, that's a threat to your life. You know what I mean? Because if you're an animal, just say you're an animal. If you're an animal and if you're a wolf and you see a bigger wolf, that wolf could very well kill you, and that sets off a chain of reactions. But human beings, our sense of like largeness is kind of abstract. So if you perceive somebody's bigger than you in some sense, it can set off like a very real
Fear
chain
reaction.
of biological events
Yep.
that can color your thinking and behavior. And it's like no one really thinks about that, but it's like something people have to come to grips with. But whatever. But yeah. So that's. I don't know, man. I think we could have a good time up here on Earth, but it's it sucks for everybody. It's kind of shitty.
Is
for a
it
lot
the
of
human condition?
people. I think so.
We're stuck. The iPhone.
Yeah,
I got an iPhone in April or May. I had a flip phone from 2013. I shut off my iPhone too.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that motherfucker is worse than bad cocaine.
Yeah,
Dude,
dude. I'm coming to grips with how addicted I am to my phone, and it's
God.
like it's bad, man. I got my screen time down to like I think like 3 hours, and I think this week I should be hitting 2. But it's like, dude, it's such an addiction.
But you need it for your business, right?
Yeah, I do, but it's like I could use it in a way where I'm not like pulling it out, being like, let me see if anyone. And I'm just
Every
like,
2 hours, they're just
well, the
allotted.
worst part is with social media, you're addicted to yourself. You're like you've commodified
Right, yeah.
your personality.
How many likes?
You're checking
How
your
much
numbers.
money?
Yeah, now you have like it's like very real, quantitative data on like your personality, and so of course there's an addictive component to the phone, but like nothing's more addictive than yourself, and like your insecurities and checking on all that. And I think that's what ties a lot of people to it. It's
And
like,
the kids, now that they're like, if I don't have likes, this whole idea of
yeah, it sucks.
shootings.
Yeah. So that's, but either way. So yeah, I kind of agree. Something needs to happen, but it's one of those things where it's like when people try to push the pedal, like I got the solution and push the pedal, usually it's just 10 times worse. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see what happens with people. But either way, so dude, okay, so this is what else did I want to ask you about? So this is the thing that I thought was crazy. So you're kicking around different, prisons.
6.
Yeah, you're 6
I
different
didn't
prisons.
adjust well. Who does, right?
True, but you're kicking around. Things are going well. You've got some hustles going on, and then
Always hustle.
You have the altercation with the guard, and this was the thing I thought the craziest part of the book. You have the altercation with the guard.
If you said that name in a disrespectful way, the Aryan Brotherhood would have killed you.
What do you mean?
Wait, which guard you're talking about?
The guard who sent you to Marion.
Oh, that guy, the lieutenant. Okay, no.
What guard are you talking about?
And when I said I'll do you like Tommy Silverstein,
that was crazy.
That's like ridiculous.
Okay.
Oh no, the black lieutenant though. That really was the chain of events to get me there.
This was I thought it was kind of nuts. So you're in jail, things are going well, whatever. This black lieutenant takes your bag. You guys get into an altercation. So
he called me a hippie rat.
He did.
He threw me down. He called me a hippie rat, and I called him a really fucked up name. I don't want to say.
It's all right. You don't have to.
So but the whole yard saw that.
Yes. And he had,
and I never ratted, but he knew that. He knew.
Oh, I didn't realize that. He said that to you in front of all the other prisoners, which is kind of a death sentence.
He's like, well, because when I came to that prison, he wanted the bag.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna get that bag. I know you faked that property slip.
And your friend stitched it for you. It was like a nice, it was like your prized possession.
James Irving, yeah. And so it was that was the third prison I was in with it, and then. I'm coming out of chow to go to the yard, and he's give me that bag, you hippie rat. And I yanked it back just out of reaction. He body slammed me. It's like 6'4", 6'5", 250, 260, huge lieutenant. I mean, he's running it. And he's like, you fucking hippie rat. And I'm like, oh, fuck. But he knew when you come in, they know who's ratted, who didn't rat, who might have to be in PC or not. So he knew that he was pushing my buttons. But anyway.
Yeah, so the thing I thought that was wild was like that incident kind of aligned itself with the crack laws, where it was like they reduced the sentences on powder cocaine, didn't reduce the sentences on crack cocaine. So then there were these like racial riots in the jail, and then that was
the first one out of 12 to riot. That's really significant.
12 prisons around the country, like
yeah,
and like dude, the extent of the damage was crazy. Like the bill you were saying,
did you see the report?
No, what was the report?
I have the whole riot report. Well, now I got to re-put it back up on my new website, but it's a report from the Justice Department. It shows like all the prisons that rioted, what was burned down to the ground, and they said that the instigator was Talladega, Alabama, and they charged me with leading it, which was the lieutenant.
That was
like
a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Well, it was really like a racially inspired riot, because it was like black guys were going to jail for crack, for the most part, white guys are going to jail for coke. And
at methamphetamine and LSD, they changed all those 3.
Oh, okay. So
3.
Yeah. So the black guys were understandably kind of pissed. So they rioted.
It's the same drug.
I know. And then that lieutenant was like, "Oh yeah, this guy instigated the riot." So you went from just like prison to then having to go to Supermax prison based on really just a beef you had with the lieutenant, which is fucking crazy.
Crazy. Yeah. There's 22 or 23 black guys and me. And then after the riot, when they did the hearings, everybody in the prison got in wicked trouble. But no one got sent to Marion, but just us 23.
And Marion, can you just explain what Marion is? Because I didn't know what it was before I read the book.
Supermax Federal Prison opened up in 63 after Alcatraz closed. There was a control unit. And then in 1983, Tommy Silverstein and Clayton Fontaine killed 2 prison guards in the control unit, which was the Supermax of Supermaxes. And then as a result of that, they made all of Marion the control unit, and they called it the Marion model. So that was the most secure, heinous 23-hour lockdown ever fucking conceived. And man, and then in like 2006, they decommissioned it, and then the 80X opened. But in the 1990s was like 380 5 of the most sophisticated, predacious motherfuckers on planet Earth, man, and me. What the fuck,
and
dude?
it was
Long
23
hair.
hour lockdown, 1 hour outside a day.
Yeah, and you had bars. So that's actually was a saving grace, because if you're laying in your cell, single cells, you're looking out, and you see the big tall windows. Whereas if you imagined it was like a door, like in the ADX, and some days they might give us 90 minutes.
Damn, and you were saying in the the thing that really kind of like I thought was nuts in the other prison during the riots, you were like about to go to the yard to work out, and you were like,
it was weird.
Let me go back to my room. And you were saying the yard itself was just like an apocalyptic battle of like dudes getting raped, people getting their heads smashed.
When I went to Marion, my neighbor told me a story of Dean, who went out on the yard, because he said that after the riots, they both got transferred to this other prison. Then T came to Marion, and then he didn't know that what you just said that I put in the book, but he told me what happened out on the yard. And he said Dean was almost dead. Like he was beat so bad, like his head caved in, like he was alive, but just like not doing really good, even after like months of like he was that fucked up. But then in the unit you walk in and it was just a jungle. But like we were all together. They were breaking the machines. We were trying to break down the door to where all the records were, because all the official records were still like physical. These guys who had all the crack law guys wanted to burn them.
Understandable.
Because no, I only have a year.
Damn.
No, they would have said.
I know that. I'm saying I know that'd been crazy taking that down. In that book I taught, in the book You Can't Win by Jack Black, that like he's like a burglar or whatever in the early 1900s. He ends up finally in a jail in California. I think in was it Folsom? Maybe it was Folsom. I don't know where it was, but he either way there was an earthquake and all of the records for all the prisoners got destroyed in like a fire or something, and he ended up getting stuck because he couldn't get out. You couldn't go in or out because he was already there, so he couldn't prove like he did enough time. But he eventually did get out. But yeah, that's damn. If only those guys had grabbed the records, that'd have been so sweet.
When they toured us out of because I didn't see everything that happened. Once they locked us down, we were in that unit for 8, 9, 10, 12, 13 days before we left for Marion. But when they took us all out to go to Marion, the one building was burnt to the ground and another building was halfway burnt down. And then when we were in there, we could hear bulldozers and shit, but you didn't really know what's happened. But I'm like, where the whole housing unit was, it was gone. It's like, fuck. I mean, you could smell smoke, but you just didn't know how bad it was.
Yeah, you got to see the damage.
Before they took our radios, we would hear on like that one dude, I can't remember that guy who would always come on in the morning. It was a national radio show, but he had started to say about all these other prisons that rioted.
Mm-hmm. He said all the other ones, and they kind of try to suppress that. Yeah, I remember reading that, how they were trying to act like, nah, we're good. And then didn't other ones like say there was stuff just so that they could clamp down and get overtime and all
exactly.
that?
That was in the report too.
Yeah.
There were some that did that. And the funny thing is, the ones that, here's the thing, what I talked about earlier, the medium security prisons were the ones where the most violence and buildings being burnt happened, because these guys that it's a consensual crime. I sell you something. Yeah. I know it's illegal. All right, I did do the crime, do the time, but it's like I could have raped, I could have robbed you, I could have stolen so much more money and gotten less time. Like, it's not fair and equal justice.
That was always my thing. It's like the prison law should be according to who would you rather have as your neighbor. Right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Would I rather have a guy who sold coke or a pedophile? It's like, all right, a pedophile should do longer time than a guy who sells coke, because it's like that's who I'd rather live next to if I had to choose. Or if I didn't have a choice, it would be like, it should be, people should be sentenced accordingly.
Did you ever look at when you moved to a new neighborhood, the federal sex offender registry?
I check it all the time.
It's unbelievable map, and you could just hover, you see who they are, what their crime is, are they on probation?
And there's
what a tool!
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
And there's a lot of them, man. I did it when I lived in Philly, and I was shocked. There was a decent amount. I think they had them all in one house. They were all in like this one house, like 4 blocks away. And I don't know if they just like some landlord.
That might be my next play. Free prison.
What do you mean?
Because the state, there's a demand. Where are you going to put them when they come out?
Right, yeah.
And maybe like there's just, I don't know, like the greed makes me think about it. But like if you could find a place for them to live, you're going to have you'll be able to rent the unit out every time.
Oh, you're talking about like pedophiles specifically, or just
Yeah,
prison? Yeah,
no,
I mean,
pedophiles.
you should. Yeah, there's
What are we gonna do with them? Where are we gonna put them? And the thing is, I don't know if it's an addiction. I want to think it is, but like those guys should never come out ever.
yeah, they should have to. You should, like you
Ever.
said, they should be. There's a documentary to watch where it's called Pervert Park. It's a really rough watch, but they have like a trailer park in Florida, and they're just like gated community. It's like they just all live in here, and people just fucking beer bottles over at them.
No, okay, so they're contained then. At least they know where they are.
But dude, not like so. I used to get housing for people when I went to school for social work. One of my jobs was to get housing for prisoners. So you get out of jail, I would do a little interview and be like, hey, I'd have to get like, what is the nature of your crime? But it was just like selling drugs and stuff. And then the lady who ran it didn't tell me she had opened up to pedophiles, because that was one of my. I would like the break the ice, because I didn't like being like, hey, what'd you go to jail for? So I'd be like, hey, I have to ask you this. As long as you're not like a pedophile, whatever, don't worry. And they'd always be like, motherfucker, I'm not a fucking pedophile. I'm like, oh. And then one day the guy was like, well, I actually am. And I was like, what? And then they were like, yeah. And I talked to my boss. I'm like, what the fuck? And she was like, yeah, I decided to start taking pedophiles. We got to find them housing too. And I was like, okay. But
what year?
This was only like, this would have been 2019, 2018, around then. My thing was like, I didn't want to, and I would call their probation officers, because I would be like, isn't there laws? These guys can't be. I can't like throw this guy in a Best Buy. Like there's kids around there.
No, there's the 1,000 feet or whatever by a school and all that. I think there is.
That's what I thought it was, man. But this person, it was kind of like leading the thing. As far as I remember, was kind of like no, they're fine. They have rights. And I called the guy's probation officer. I'm like, this guy can't work here, Kenny. The probation officer was like, fuck no. And I was like, yeah, I didn't think so. So it was weird. I remember ending up telling the lady, I was like, I
don't ask, don't tell. We got to get rid of them.
I was like, bro, I'm not sending this guy, into apartment buildings. I don't know. So it was I just told her, like, I don't,
The stigma seems less now for ex-drug dealers.
It does. Those guys.
Pot's legal. I mean, if you went to jail for weed, how could that even?
I got those guys' houses pretty easily, because I would just cold call landlords and be like, hey, I got this great deal, 6 month upfront paid rent. And they'd be like, well, what is it? And I'd be like, here's the catch. And then they would go, oh, come on, man. I'd be like, dude, they're not like fucking pedophiles. They just sold drugs. Like, come on. The 6 months is paid up.
People pay their rent. Who cares?
And then, so they were cool about that. But once she tried to have me find like the pedophile, and I had to tell her, like, look, I'm not the guy to help these guys.
Because now they're going to,
not even that. Yeah, then you're gonna fuck up all these other guys' housing, and it's also like I remember the one dude would call me, the guy who was on my caseload who had that kind of stuff, and he would just be like, "Hey, I'm outside." In my head, like, I wouldn't even be there, and I'd be like, "I don't give a fuck." He's like, "It's raining," and I'd be like, "Tough." So I'm like, "There's got to be someone who can help that guy." So they do need help from somebody, but it was like, I can't do it, man. I couldn't do it.
Like you just build like a 600 unit spot, like, and they're all there. Where are they gonna go?
Dude, it's a weird thing to do. And they just kind of like hush and quietly tuck them in a neighborhood. Like, hey, here's the guys here. And it's like, it's fucked up, man. It's really fucked up. And then
when you do the real estate transaction, you got to say, about the sex offender registry. Like you have to check that box. Mm-hmm. Because it's like if someone moved into your neighborhood and they were that, it's going to devalue everything.
Yep, it's that. Those guys have a hard time.
They never seem to be able to break free.
No,
it's not like, you sold LSD, you went to prison, you never sold it again.
Exactly. Even if you did, whatever.
Well, I did flood Marion with it.
Did you really?
Last time.
What? How'd you do that? So yeah, you were in the Supermax.
No, I did. I set it up. I don't want to say his name.
Oh, I remember this because you were pissed when you got. Was that correct?
I don't think I put it in the book, but maybe I put it in the book. I don't think it's 2015 I got out. No, that would have been after the statute of limitations. So I set it up. I said to my friend, listen, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but if you get a letter that's like this from this place, this is where the LSD will be. So I drove. I was on federal. All this shit's past its 5 years statute of limitations. The only way that they can extend it is if they ask a court, and then they have to notify you.
It's just all entertainment anyway, dude.
So, right. And so I got it. I got the liquid. I put it on the paper. I wrote this letter with gloves on and with my left hand, the envelope. And I drove past Marion. Way down south through Illinois and then into that state that's right to the east, either Tennessee or Kentucky, and then just went to a mailbox with a stamp and just put it in. So then it had that
right
thing, right? And then he acknowledged it in a very with a future letter. He didn't say
anything,
but and then I never wrote him back again.
That's
but
cool, guy.
I had to do it as one last act of defiance. Like, just I had to do it. And the thing is, like, they could have come to me and said he got caught with it. You sent it. There was no fucking trace. I didn't have a cell phone. It's not like they knew I drove there. I didn't get pulled over. There was no. Like, there's no way.
And it just ran right through there. That must have been wild.
The thing is, like, I did a line of coke one time in prison, and like smoking weed, it was hard to get used to. When James first got me stoned, I was crying in my bunk because of just the horror of what, dude.
That must have been terrible, getting that high in jail.
Twice there was acid and I didn't take it, but one time this guy gave me this line of coke, ether based, just wicked, just so high. But then coming down off that, dude, was like, not that you wanted more, but you're like, I'm in fucking prison.
Ugh.
Dude, that's a hard fucking reality. So
what was it like
taking acid?
Yeah.
Herb got 4 or 5 hits. Each was 200 mics. And he asked me for like a week, not to push me, but he said, because he's like, we're all going to take this, but there's one for you. And then he kept coming to the chow and saying, are you sure? Because he's like, I'll probably never get this again. Mm-hmm. And then I remember when they took it, they had a great time. But I just thought if I took that in jail, like 8 or 10 hours of tripping in prison, I don't know, man.
I couldn't do it.
I couldn't.
I have a friend who smoked K2 in jail, like the synthetic weed.
Yep.
And he said and this guy was doing.
Isn't it just like
heroin.
weed?
Yeah, but apparently it's like kind of harsh from what I've heard. It's like it can be like, because it's just a chemical. So like weed, the plant can only get so strong, but K2, they're spraying these synthetic cannabinoids. It could be fucking.
Who knows?
Exactly. So he said, and this guy, he had done like
tripping
all the drugs you could possibly do, and he was like, dude, fuck that shit. He said he was in there. He kept hearing people coming, checking on, and it wasn't happening. It was him and the dude in there just in terror the whole time.
Did you like the way we made pipes?
Yeah. Yeah.
It worked perfectly. And the thing is that if you blow the smoke out with another tube of bounce, you see smoke, but you cannot smell it.
That was the old
college.
That's the old college trick too.
You got to suck the whole hit down though, so there's no smoke left.
That was the college trick. You would put the Febreze fabric softener sheet in a paper towel thing and blow it out.
Because pot smells so strong to people that don't smoke it.
Yeah, smoking weed in jail does seem like a lot of trouble. Seems like you'd have to be really kind of careful. I guess you could go outside.
Sparky took me out and we just kept hitting this joint during the move right when I arrived. And when I got back, I swear to God, it was like I took 10 hits of acid.
Freaked out.
I was so fucking stoned. Like, dude, and I'm like 151 months. I hadn't won an appeal. It was just this wickedness.
It really set in. That weed does that to you, where like the reality of stuff sets in.
Every day it took me twice a day, and after about a week, it was
you got
fortified. Fuck it, you got to do your time, right? And then they taught me how to beat the piss test. You drink.
I read about that.
You drink a gallon of water, and then the lieutenants give you 2 hours, and because they can't just grab you and say pee, they say you got 2 hours to report to the lieutenant's office. Mm-hmm. You got to drink a full gallon in 15 minutes. They taught me this. And then they said by the 6th or 7th piss, they said, you want to wait to 7. If you can wait till 8, it's just pure water.
Don't you get a dilute though? I heard you the drug test now they can hit you with it was too diluted.
This was the 90s. Oh, and the thing is, whenever they would take they'd take it, you'd go back to the lieutenant's office, they would make it look like they're putting it in a mailer, but then they would always ask you, if you admit to us you did drugs, we'll only give you 30 days. I mean, I never would, but nothing ever came back dirty. That's Today, cool. The test might be different, the whole whatever. But if you didn't piss, you would get a dirty. Then it's 90 days in the hole and you'd probably get transferred.
Yeah, it sucks.
Which is the fucking worst.
And you also, if they, even if it was diluted, you'd have the time because it'd have to get mailed out, ran through a lab. And by then it's like, hey.
I don't know. Did they do that in the 90s, the dilution?
I've just heard about it. I don't know. I was so young. In the 90s, I was a wee boy. But I remember hearing about that move, like just slam a bunch of fucking water. But then the test would come back as like inconclusive because it was just too diluted. I
think that 8th piss, because you're talking now maybe at 45, 50 minute mark. If you slam that, it looks like water. It smells like water.
Yeah.
It's probably barely 98 degrees warm.
No, it makes
Like-
sense back then that they would have been. It would have been like,
But
it's
today,
not-
I think they probably could detect it.
yeah,
on
I had to do.
anything.
I had to do a drug test when I was working for my dad. He does demolition. We were like working in like on the hospital kind of, or was it a hospital? It was a school. It was a school. So they like everyone had to get drug tested. So I remember what we had to do. We had all day, and it wasn't like you had somebody watching you. So we just had like. I filled up a latex glove of pee from somebody I knew, and then you just keep a hand warmer on it, so it keeps it at like 98 degrees.
How did you know he was clean? You just hoped?
I just knew he was. I asked him. He didn't. I knew so he didn't smoke weed or do anything. So I was like, "Let me get pee in this glove for me, or pee in a thing." And then I just dumped it in the glove.
And it worked?
Kept it on a hand warmer. But then I got there, and my friend needed some too,
Oh.
so we had to split it. And then we both. I didn't realize there was a minimum amount, so we both gave like that much.
Did they take it?
Yeah.
That's
The nurse was
awesome.
cool. She was really, but they hit you with the temperature. That was a big thing. They temp check it
Because
to
then
make
they
sure.
see if it's cold. It's not 98.6.
Exactly. So the hand warmers, I had to ask for hand warmers in like July. I was like, "You guys have hand warmers back here?" And they're like, "Yeah, but why?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I just need them. I'm going somewhere." So, but yeah, that's pretty crazy. So then that story too about getting.
What
them-
about the duffel bag?
what about it?
What do you think happened to it?
What, the duffel bag you got taken from you? Didn't you get it? Did you get it back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the end of the book, man. You got that was it. All came together. That guy.
What the fuck? So that
He probably felt
motherfucker.
fucking bad.
That lieutenant sent it to me after I got home from Marion, which means he held it the whole time I was in Marion.
What the hell was it? What was that about? Why did he give it back to you?
It was the fuck you.
You think that was his fuck you to you?
100%.
What? You don't think that was? I took that as the guy who was like had a nice moment where he was just like, "Yeah, let me give this guy his bag back."
No way.
Why did he do that? Just to be a
I
dickhead?
think so. I burned it in a 55-gallon drum
You
that
burned
day. I had a ceremony to let it all go.
That's cool. That makes sense.
I did. And maybe it was. I never thought that. I mean, I wasn't in a bad. It just struck me like this motherfucker sent it back now.
It is weird. Also, is it normal to keep like? How would he even get an alert that you were out?
He was following it. He had to be.
Yeah, that's
like
kind of weird.
Yeah. So like, but it represented so much.
Yeah,
I had to like the Phoenix, like just let this
Burn
go.
this
And I
thing
had a
up.
ceremony.
that's pretty cool. Yeah,
No one was there. And I just like, this is going.
this thing's out of here. That makes sense. Just
I don't regret it, but it would have been kind of cool to say, hey, here's the green duffel bag. But
no, man.
I had to let it go. I had to just get rid of it. It symbolized so much.
Yeah, and just to move
Was
on.
that bad psychologically? What do you think?
No, I think that's feel good doing that. Get rid of it. Just to
Yeah.
that way you're out. That's like a chapter that's totally done with.
Yeah.
And there's something kind of cool and ceremonial about being like, all right, I'm done with this part
I
of my
can let
life.
go.
Especially if you think the guy was fucking with you, I'd be like, fuck you, dude.
Well,
Burn that
I
thing
don't
too.
know that. It shocked me though
Yeah, I'd be
that
freaked
this
out,
came.
dude.
It was shocking.
Yeah, that would have freaked me out. Like, first of all, I was like, dude, you're keeping tabs on me.
Staying with my brother, which the probation officer would have known, but like all my other stuff I had.
Yeah.
Like, because when I left Marion, there's that stuff that got sent. Like, this is maybe weeks or months later. It just was weird.
It is weird. And then the one thing I did want to ask you about, because this is in the book as well, you got out and you started a pretty successful real estate.
Dude, I was
Venture.
so
Killing it.
focused. I got to come back. No, I was like by accident. The house,
Yeah.
there was a bust. They showed coke. I was going to my job. There's an arcane law that was like you can make an unsolicited bid with the Marshal Service if they seize assets. And I knew all this from jail.
Yeah. 'cause
And
you
so then I
studied up.
actually dated the Marshal.
It helps.
A little. She probably would deny it. But so I bought that house.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bought that house probably 18 months later for like $25,000. And then I just like felt like changing the design. My mom would always take me to these Frank Lloyd Wright homes.
Mhm.
And so I just started doing it. And then some people helped me in the neighborhood. They saw sympathetic to the architecture, but I needed help like with the design and just people and contractors. And then that just started the evolution. And I was hyper focused, monster, just like going after it, like not worried about a Rolex, but just loving what I do. And I was good at it. The best that I've ever been at anything probably in the world of commerce and making money that's legit, paying taxes. I mean, 2005, I paid $175,000 in federal tax. I mean, where the fuck did that money go, man? A fucking tank tread? Like, goddamn. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so that
Yeah,
just
true.
focused me and I just would buy buildings, restore them, or buy apartment buildings, restore them, rent them, and sell them.
That's cool. Yeah, and you got into like just kind of. I remember the book
I did
you were saying.
addresses and everything. And then my lake house, this massive lake estate, S109W35190 Jacks Bay Road, Eagle, Wisconsin 53149. Dude,
Nice.
fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, you had
that spot was unbelievable.
And you got hit with the subprime mortgage crisis. Yeah, man.
I was told.
That's wild, dude.
I was told not to. Yeah.
That, yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them. I wanted to get to 3 million and then get 3 million in T-bills and then still do what I do. But that was my goal. And I had 9 years at $1,010,000. I bought that lake estate and 2 other houses, 6429 North Santa Monica and 1525 North Marshall. And then just, it went, man. And I paid all the mortgages till I had like 11,000 left. And then a bankruptcy lawyer came to me and said, if you file bankruptcy, you could stay in that lake house for another 18 months. And I said, dude, I'm giving the keys back. Like, it's done. I'm not just going to stay here. And I flew to Hawaii and I started to caretake a farm. But that took me 10 years mentally. Like now, like you being on here, like that focus and drive, like it's there. I have it, but I still do it today. And I have a little, not where I was, but I'm not driven like I was and I want to be.
Right.
I want to be.
But you're still doing the properties.
Yes.
That's cool. Rehabbing and fixing up.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
I guess I'm an artist and buildings are my medium. I'm not
cool.
a contractor because I can't do it for someone else because then it's their vision and I can't just do what I do with the people, you know?
That's true.
So that's what I know. Like I can't, like I'm not a painter.
For sure.
That's kind of like what the hand I was dealt.
Yeah. No, that's pretty
And
cool.
I love working out. I like working out.
It's a nice physical job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the plan now? What are you up to now, and what's your plan to do?
Well, you've
gonna
inspired me. I'm going to do an Audible on the book. I'm going to do a second edition. I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep the name. And then the whole social media thing is like all new to me. But like you can get paid for views.
Yeah.
Like you can go on a show and drink liquid death and show it and like you're going to get 10 fucking grand. Like I see it. I understand marketing. Like holy fuck, man.
You want that liquid death money.
Fuck yeah, man. Why not? Like it's cool. The fame part is weird to me, but I guess like that's part of it, Like
So what, are you going to start a podcast or something?
I don't think I could compete.
Right. But you just want to do the real estate.
I'd love to sell the book, the movie rights. I had started a cream plate. That would be really cool.
Yeah, and with the book, it was funny because you did what, 5,000 copies?
Yes,
sold them, and now the only books are on Amazon. And I was like,
I'm not selling them for $200. Those are other people.
We looked up his book. Me and Nate were there. Nate Marshall were looking up his book.
You thought it was me.
And I was like, damn, this guy's selling his books for fucking $200.
No,
and that's all they're secondhand sellers
because they
sold all your ones. Yeah,
from the soft white underbelly. It's like within a couple of months, I'm like, Mark, what the fuck? People are selling my book for $250. He's like, yeah, that's part of the deal.
You got to print more, dude.
I could print more or do a second edition because what I want to do is a chapter every other chapter, and then add Marion. I took a bunch of stuff out about Marion.
Yeah, the book was. I'm telling you, the book was great. I couldn't stop reading it. So,
but they do a feature film on a guy who invented the delay on a windshield wiper, $80 million. Like they'll do it on anything. But the story. This not my story. I mean, my story is there, but just the story of the history of Marion.
Yeah.
And the drug laws and like the riots.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck,
that was
man?
cool. And it was fascinating.
It's crazy after this many years. Like you have me on this podcast, it makes it relevant again. Like unfucking believable. Like how the fuck, like you saw that show and you're like, I gotta get this guy. Like,
yeah.
What? And then I took 21 days to respond. I'm like, oh my God, this motherfucker's gonna think.
Not a big deal.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, I did think it was crazy how you were in there and you were describing like the people, especially in Marion, like these guys would kill you, like without hesitating. And you have to form friendships with these guys and hang with them.
Bruce Pierce,
and you knew
Doc Holliday,
and the fact that you did tell
Big Mike
the guards,
McElhenney.
we didn't get. I'll leave that in the book, but yeah, that is funny that you just completely beefed with the guards on that level and threatened them that you're gonna kill them.
Well, I thought about it on the plane coming here. There was a leader of the Aryan Brotherhood who's now in the ADX, Mike McElhenney. He never overtly I thought danger of him, but I knew he was a wicked dude. Like you have like the big wolf, but like he gave me a respect. And it had to be, because who the fuck would he also probably thought I was fucking idiot because the guards could have killed me. But like, who would have ever said that?
Yeah.
I'm going to do you like Tommy Silverstein. Like, what the fuck,
dude,
man?
pretty rough,
That's
dude.
insane. I mean, I'm not bragging. I'm like at all. Like, how could that have even come out of my mouth? It shows you the, I don't know, the naivety I still have probably this day in some form. You
But
know?
no, that was pretty sick. But well, dude, yeah, man, fucking pumped. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Thanks, bro.
Thank you.
See you, man.
Thank you.
Wow, wow, Wes.
Dr. Peter Attia, dude. Thank you for coming. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing this. I'm really pumped. I read your book, so I'm kind of familiar. with
thank
your
you so
stuff,
much.
and I kind of like what you're about.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing the podcast. And I guess I'll give you an introduction and correct me if I'm wrong. You were a medical doctor and you did cancer surgery, right?
A general surgery with a focus on cancer.
With the focus on cancer, and then you just kind of. I liked your origin story a lot, and so from what I remember in your book, you did this big swim, like it was like a marathon swim or something. And how far did you swim?
It was about 21 miles.
That's insane. So you did a 21-mile swim, and then, if I remember correctly, you were eating a cheeseburger in celebration. And your wife,
that was a slightly longer swim, but yes. Now I know the story you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, that honestly, dude, that made me laugh so hard that you did like a what?
I think that was like 25 miles or something.
25-mile swim. You go out to have a cheeseburger and I believe a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And your wife more or less was like, "You're fat."
Yeah.
Dude, that's the best. And then it launched you, and then you just got the ultimate revenge and started like a super successful business. How do you feel about that?
She was very sweet. She said she didn't say you're fat. She goes, "You need to work on being less, not thin."
That's worse thoh. I'd rather someone be like, "You fat ass," than be like, "You need to be less, not thin." But you just swam 25 miles.
Yeah. Well,
that's wonderful though. That is good though to have a woman to push you to those heights. Because then is that really like the genesis of you kind of branching out into like.
I had actually already left medicine at that point. I had been out of medicine for 3 years. I was working at that time. God, what was I doing? I was working at an energy company, I think, or maybe I was in finance or something. I was like, I had nothing to do with medicine. But that was right around the time my daughter was born as well. And so I think that was kind of the 1-2 punch. It was sort of my daughter's born. And then I'm realizing actually like I'm not that healthy. Yeah. Even though I exercise a lot, I'm actually not that healthy. And those two things were what kind of got me to be pretty obsessed with just trying to figure out how to not die prematurely.
The kids do that. I have a 2 and a 4-year-old, and that really kind of, I actually thought, you'll find this interesting. I thought I was healthy. I was doing the, all these apps. Like I did the one where you like mail your poop and all that stuff. And I did that. They came back like, dude, you're like 6 years younger biologically. I was like, this is awesome. I had the Aura thing. I had that going on, telling me I'm 7 years younger than my age. And then I took a blood panel. Dude, I'm like pre-diabetic.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, what the fuck, man? It was like, I thought I was like killing it. And I got it back and it was like, I literally just found out 2 days ago. So this timing couldn't be more perfect. My A1C, I think it was. My A1C is like 5.7, which was like, but I did eat 2 bites of a pancake before my blood work, which you're not supposed to do.
Shouldn't impact the A1C.
Damn it, dude. I was fucking hoping that was the answer. Yeah, so that is kind of crazy because and again, I don't, I'm not the definition of fitness, but I'm not like, I thought I had the almost type 2 diabetes.
Well, it takes a while. Like no one wakes up diabetic, but also most people don't recognize that it's a 10-year journey for most people.
Really?
To get there, yeah.
So what? I have like four more years of pre-diabetes?
No, I mean, I think that's impossible to predict for any one person, but we definitely know that disease is so much more complicated than people, I think, historically have thought of it. People have historically said, well, I mean, type 2 diabetes is your pancreas can't make enough insulin, you can't get enough glucose out of your blood into the muscles, and eventually we just cut off some arbitrary number. We just say once you reach a certain level of blood glucose, then you have type 2 diabetes. But to me, that's just not a great way to think about it. I think of it as a continuum and a spectrum. And pre-diabetes is a step along the way, but we also know that the lower your blood sugar, the better. So 5.7 is better than 5.8 is better than 5.9. But even though we would call you quote unquote normal at 5.6, I would argue 5 is much better than 5.6.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like for real joke because I was like dancing in the end zone on my wife because she is her biological age and I'm not rubbing it in, but it was like whatever. And I was like, I'm like 5 years older than her, so I was like her peer biologically. And I was laughing, I was
these
kinda,
biologic clocks things are such a scam. It is
I know.
incredible.
Well, dude,
I love
mine
it.
went
I love
down.
it. I love it.
Mine
It's
went down.
brilliant marketing.
It
is
is
brilliant marketing.
Well, I woke up one day and I went like I lost half a year of my biological age. I was like, what the fuck did I do? I like went into a panic. But yeah, so the that was like a real revelation for me. I was like, holy shit, man, because my dad has type 2 diabetes. And I was like, yeah, that's on him. He eats ice cream all the time. I'm healthy. And I like got my blood work and I was like, son of a bitch. By the way, I'm just breaking this right now. I don't
This is breaking news.
This is breaking news.
This is like so timely.
I have and I was actually, it is very timely. And I have been leveraging it emotionally in my household, which is nice. Anytime my wife bothers me, I'm like, dude, I have pre-diabetes. This cortisol is going to mess up my insulin. So
I got a text message literally on the way over here from a buddy who just got a vasectomy yesterday. And we had recommended the urologist to him who was going to do it. So he goes, look, I just want to tell you, man, literally the best experience ever. The guy was incredible, so funny. He's got me draped like over the table. So like, he's like, there's a drape, like I'm laying on my back.
Like
and
a C-section? They do they don't let you see?
Yeah, it's like you're sterile.
Okay.
They want to keep you sterile, right?
Gotcha.
And the guy walks in the room first time. He hasn't seen me. He doesn't see my face. He just sees my schlong and he goes, oh, I remember you. But he was like, but it was just all jokes. And he says today, he goes, look, honestly, zero pain at all. But don't tell my wife. I am going to milk this as 10 out of 10 pain for another week.
So important.
Yeah.
So also the vasectomy, you can't ejaculate for like what, 7 days or something?
That's a good question. I don't know how many days.
Swear to God,
I don't know how many days. I don't know how many.
It's like 7. My friend did it. He
had to hold off. Yeah.
7 whole days, and he said he went a little prematurely and said he had a little bit of pain. so that's not good. But yeah, dude. So that was kind of crazy, man. Because I've been doing all the services because I haven't like been to a doctor in forever. Because I'm like, I go to it, and this is what I think was cool in your book. You have like, what was it, healthcare 2.0 versus like 3. What was the latest?
Yeah, medicine 2.0 versus medicine 3.0. Yeah.
So 3.0 is kind of where you're at. That's kind of more cutting edge. 2.0 is like a step up from like medieval humors and.
Yeah, but still important. I mean, we still want medicine 2.0. Medicine 2.0 will take care of a problem when it shows up.
Gotcha.
And if you're in a car accident, you break your leg, you get pneumonia, you want someone who knows how to deal with those problems. But it's a very different system from, hey, how do I take a guy whose hemoglobin A1C is 5.5, who everyone thinks is just perfect, but I think he's on the path to actually, being diabetic in 10 years. And why would I wait till he's staring down the door when I could just make the changes now?
Yeah, and that was kind of my beef with doctors. I would go there and they're like nice. I don't have anything against them, but I go there and they're just kind of like, yeah, cholesterol is good. And I'm like, this is all we're worried about? Like this is it, and it's like, and then they lowered the window to like blood pressure. One day I went in there and they're like, oh, by the way, high blood pressure is lower now. And I'm like, okay. I didn't have a blood pressure problem, but it's like I just feel like you go there and it's like you're like a car. You go in and they check like 2 things. You're like, yeah, you're good. But so I really liked your book. How you're like you want to check for more things and try to increase the health span, not just the lifespan, which I like because a lot of people are very unhealthy. Yeah. I thought I was a poster child for health, dude. I'm one of the suffering Americans. Just I need Michelle Obama to come make me lunch, dude. I'm fucked up right now. So what are you working on right now? Because the book. Has anything changed from the book? And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the summary was like the 4 horsemen. That's the things that are the 4 leading causes of death. And there are what? Heart disease?
Cancer,
neurodegenerative
diseases and dementing diseases like Alzheimer's disease and metabolic disease.
That's me. That's diabetes, right?
And they overlap. So
Yeah.
when you have type 2 diabetes, your risk of those other diseases goes up by 50%. So that one sort of feeds into the other. And also if you have cardiovascular disease, your risk of dementia goes way up. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Damn, that sucks. Yeah, and you know what's weird too? Because I don't want to turn this into like a personal doctor visit, but like I, for real, had like crazy brain fog. Like I was like messing up recalling words. And a lot of my mom's side had like dementia stuff when they got older. So I started being like, damn, I might be like getting like early dementia. And as soon as I learned about the high A1C, and I don't know if that's like high enough to cause brain fog. Like I was like, I forgot the word croissant. I was like trying to think of that word. Couldn't think of that. But as soon as I got off all the carbs and now I'm like basically doing like keto, my brain just like came right back to life. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that that's related to the A1C per se, but fluctuating levels of blood glucose make it just a little more difficult. And some people are more sensitive to it than others. Some people, you know, they can eat all the carbs in the world and it doesn't seem to phase them. And a lot of people are like, no, the moment I go to slower carbs or just no carbs at all, or just more complex carbs, my energy levels normalize, and so too does my attention.
Yeah, dude, that happened for me. And I also don't you have to eat as much. Like I was eating so much, man. It would be like 4 cups of rice. I was just pigging out.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I stopped eating that much carbs, I eat like 2 meals a day, and they're pretty like sparse. So,
tell me about these pictures here. What's
thank
the
you, man.
significance?
This I just figured it was funny because it's just kind of like a just an ample naked lady sitting at a picnic. So I literally picked the pictures very quickly. This one I just wanted very intense imagery.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like, this is pleasant. It's a little complicated. You have
what do you think's going on here? Why is she naked? And who are these guys?
These guys are up to no good for sure. They I think these guys, it looks like they just got happened upon, and someone's going, "What the hell are you doing with that ample naked lady in the park?" And this guy's like,
but he's like fully dressed.
Yeah.
Who's the girl in the background?
So to answer your first question, this is a clothed male, naked female. It's a fetish. That's going on, and I think she's kind of like next. I think they're like, get over here, strip down, so we can have a naked picnic. This caused a serious uproar back in the day when this guy painted this. It was a problem.
I can see why.
They were like, if you had someone pose, this lady had to have been a prostitute, and they're like, that's totally scandalous.
Yeah. What year approximately was this?
I wish I knew. I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say like maybe the late 1800s. If I had to guess, but I could be wrong. And that guy, I don't know what that guy's hat's all about over there, but
yeah, I mean, it's sort of. I don't want to profile him, but I have thoughts.
True, it is a hat. I don't recognize that hat, and I do have my own suspicions as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's like. I don't know what's going on. He seems kind of distracted. I think he's being caught. She's just kind of getting caught. There's just a lady in a pond, maybe, just kind of floating around.
Oh, that's interesting. So I see that now. I thought she was picking up apples, but maybe she's washing her hands.
Sure. Well,
in the pond.
One could only guess why. But yeah, so that was cool. I thought that was a fun one. This is very intense. I like this, and then I just toss a little crucifixion up there.
Yeah, it's the rainbow crucifixion. I don't know my biblical history well enough to. I would embarrass myself if I asked dumb questions. But is there a rainbow after the crucifixion?
I would hope so. God was rising back to heaven 2 days before, so I'd hope that.
No, I thought it was 3 days after this.
3 days, my bad.
Yeah,
3 days.
So that foreshadowed maybe the resurrection. Is what
could
you're
be,
saying.
yeah, could be.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't know. I don't have any real knowledge.
Can you imagine how brutal the world was when we crucified people?
I think about it all the time.
Like, how lucky are we to live in this candy ass world of softness?
Dude, I try to tell it to people, and I have people tell me.
I'm so grateful.
It's insane because I try to tell people, I'm like, dude, it was way different. And other people be like
those guys were thieves, right?
Yeah.
Like that today, you wouldn't even go to jail.
Yeah,
in most cities.
Yeah, they'll kill you.
Yeah. And then you get crucified?
Yeah. And it also, the procession was like a pretty nasty part of it, too. Just to get walked through the streets, spit upon, rocks thrown at you.
I can't fathom.
Dude, the social anxiety.
And by the way, that's only 2,000 years ago, which in the arc of human history is yesterday.
Nothing.
That's nothing.
That's what I try to tell people, man. Because there's a lot of people who are like, everything's always been the same. It's just different variations on the same themes. And I'm like, dude, it's gotten so much different from 2,000 years ago. It can still get so much different.
Think about 500 years ago, right? Think about if you could be you, or you could be the king of England 500 years ago with it sounds great until you get like a dental abscess and you realize there's no AC, there's no heat, the food sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you're going to be the king of England 500 years ago.
Yeah, the food still sucks in England now. Yeah, that's a good point because you could
probably pre-fish and chips.
Yeah, that would actually suck. I never thought about being like the king of another country. But it would be pretty terrible. There was a king in some medieval time, like longer ago than that, but they thought alcohol was like health stuff back in the day. It was like the spirit.
It kind of was because water was so contaminated, right?
Yeah.
So you basically had two broad cultures that emerged from either the fermentation of water, right, and alcohol to make to get rid of the bacteria, or tea, right? You have sort of the rise of the sort of tea culture where you boiled water. But yeah, the idea that you were just going to go and drink water was like, the fact that we're sitting here drinking this is incredible.
It's pretty tight, actually. But yeah, they had a king. They were like, they rubbed him down in like brandy, maybe, And then they were like, all right, we're going to like rub this all over his body. And like a candle got too close and just burnt the guy alive. And all the high priests or whatever had to be like, you must have been fucking evil.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
No one put two and two together. They didn't understand exothermic chemical reactions.
Damn, dude. So let me ask you this. What is your, the gist of your book is basically, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the gist was basically like we can pre-screen better and we can kind of promote wellness rather than waiting till somebody has like a horrible, often irreversible disease and like try to fix it through kind of like nuking the territory.
and part of it is like, what gets measured gets managed. And so Medicine 2.0 measures lifespan as the ultimate outcome, which is, that's been productive. That's a good thing to measure. I'm not suggesting we shouldn't care about lifespan, because 150 years ago, lifespan was 40 years. Today it's 80. That's insane. We doubled lifespan. And that's all due to Medicine 2.0. Basically figuring out how to not kill women when they gave birth to children, how to keep babies alive when they were born, how to fight infections, how to wash our hands, like that, and a little bit of stuff around trauma and critical care, like you doubled human lifespan. But we're not managing health span. And so part of the argument is, okay, we've done pretty well on lifespan. We could do better, but we really have to manage health span.
Yeah.
And so if we think about things that make up health span, it's sort of like, how much muscle mass do you have? How strong are you? How much endurance do you have? How much flexibility and balance do you have? How quick is your cognitive performance? How happy are you? How are your relationships? How much joy do you have in your life? These things are softer and squishier. Some of them are pretty easy to measure, like VO2 max and muscle mass and strength. Some of them are harder to measure, like cognitive performance. But if you don't measure something, there's no chance you're going to manage to it. And I would just argue we have to slightly tilt in the direction of doing more on that front.
Yeah, it'd also be cooler to go to the doctor and have him like hit the treadmill. Let's check your VO2 max.
Yeah, let me see how long you can dead hang for. Let me see your grip strength.
That'd be so much better than sitting there and just being like basically getting molested and leaving. That's all you do. You go there and they're like, all right, we're gonna. What is the coughing? Why do they do that? Why do they hold your?
It's funny. I thought you were going to ask me to do it to you earlier when you said this is not an appointment. I literally thought you were going to whip your junk out and have me check.
I'm just going just for the A, dude. You got to do the butt.
They're checking for a hernia.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
But why is that like the top of the pops? And
exactly.
There's so much other things to check. It's like we're not going to do all this other stuff that'd be useful. We're
not going to look at a bunch of things, but I do want to stick my finger in the inguinal canal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make you cough.
I'm glad they do that, but it's like, why did that get picked as opposed to all of his other stuff you're talking about? Do you think it has something to do with like just like institutional, just repressed homosexuality throughout the entire culture? And that was like,
I don't know. But I will say this, like, I can't tell you how many rectal exams I've done. And then I realized, like, I mean, technically a good urologist will tell you that their finger is good enough to truly feel a prostate cancer that would otherwise not be picked up on a PSA or some other test. And I'll take them at their word. But I think for the rest of us who don't do 20 a day, yeah, I don't think my finger is good enough.
Don't say that.
I mean, I'll work harder, but
yeah, that's crazy. So they're saying they can just feel like it's just
they've said like, look, man, there's always that one case that slips through the crack where the guy has a normal PSA, no pun intended. Yeah, jeez.
So they can tell, yeah.
But they're like, yep, if you feel a certain type of super hard nodule on the prostate, that would be suspicious.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. I think they really could if doctors would embrace that. It'd be so much more fun. You go, you kind of run on the treadmill, dead hang. They can talk to you a little bit about it. It just seems so kind of sterile.
Plank. Yeah, there's like a bunch of basic tests. Everybody should be able to. We should be able to see the people do. I completely agree.
Yeah, I don't. That's so. I did really like your book for that reason. Hopefully, that kind of stuff takes. So what is so if that's the scope of the book, where do you stand now? Has anything changed in that time, or is there anything that's like latest and greatest that's kind of like blowing your mind right now?
I think my thinking is always evolving. I would say if I were writing that book today, I would actually kind of add a fifth horseman, which is anything that pertains to a weakened immune system. So I'm just getting over a cold because I have 3 kids and 2 of them are young. So basically I'm always in the face of like some virus, right?
Yeah.
So twice a year I always get some stupid cold. And it's no big deal. It starts in my throat, blah, blah, blah. It gets into my lungs. I hack up a bunch of junk and then I'm fine. But, anyone who's been around older folks realizes that that's the kind of thing that can tip them over the edge when they're 80 years old.
Yeah.
A really bad infection, a flu, COVID, things that us, 50-year-olds laugh at can become deadly. And so from a research perspective, this is something I'm super interested in, is how do we regenerate the immune system? So, I'm in my 50s. My immune system's also in its 50s. Would it be amazing if when I'm in my 80s, I could still have an immune system that's maybe like in my 50s or 40s? The effect that would have against, mitigating the risk of fatal pneumonias, infections, and even cancers is huge, because the immune system is the first line of defense against cancer.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Is that it? Didn't they used to use like fevers for that too? They would induce fevers to try to kill certain types of cancer.
Yeah, and it wasn't very successful because it's so nonspecific.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cancer is the only way for the immune system to eradicate cancer is you have to get the very, very, very specific T cell that recognizes exactly that cancer, and you have to figure out a way to make enough of them that it, wins that war. And that rarely happens spontaneously. I mean, the cases are, documented in the literature. They're so rare, but we now have drugs that can make that happen in about 10% of cases, which is huge.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So what was your research yielded? How do you think you can bolster the immune system, or like?
I mean, it depends I don't know how technical the audience wants to get into this stuff, but so stop me when this has become unbearable.
For sure.
So we have DNA.
Okay.
So everyone's heard of DNA. DNA is the code that tells every cell how to make a protein. So what tells DNA to turn on and off are something called methylations, little carbons that stick on the backbone, or something called the epigenome. So DNA is regulated through this methylation pattern. And as we age, that changes.
Gotcha.
So we can look at a T cell, which is the type of cell that fights a cancer or an infection, and we can say, that's what an old one looks like. That's what a new one looks like. Even though the DNA is the same, the epigenome above the genome, this methylation pattern looks different. And so the question is, what if we took the methylation pattern of an old T cell and made it look like a young T cell? Would it revert into a young T cell? So to me, that's certainly top 2 or 3 most interesting questions in aging research today.
That's pretty cool. And that makes sense, because it's like the DNA, you're born with it, and then the epi layer, that's like the kind of like pattern that's affected through the environment.
That's what regulates it, exactly.
Yeah. And then so if you can kind of get into that, and then so you could, and it was stress too, because I noticed that was a big thing in your book. So, and you can stress yourself to the point where your epigenome will just start being like,
everything in the environment can affect that. So it's affected just naturally through aging. So the passage of time affects it, but so does anything in the environment. So whether you exercise, whether you smoke, whether you have diabetes or not, all of those things, good sleep, bad sleep, high stress, low stress, anything can tweak that in the right or wrong direction.
Damn. Okay. That's pretty cool. So you're saying,
but the gravitational pull of age is huge. And that's the one I'm most interested in, is like, how would you, because even the healthiest 80-year-old has nowhere near the immune system of an unhealthy 30-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. And we saw that everyone was hoping against hope that Mike Tyson would just knock out Jake Paul, and that was kind of like a bitter moment for a lot of people.
Yeah, you can't, like age is not, like,
just can't do it.
Yeah, as Father Time is undefeated, as everybody said.
Yeah, even with like the TRT, what are your thoughts on that? Like, in terms of like, what age to kind of smash the glass and just go full upgrade?
I don't know that there's an age I would do it. I mean, I think the things that I would, I had a long talk with a patient yesterday about this exact question, and he's pretty young. He's like 36. Does not have kids, but wants to have kids. Yeah. So that's a huge consideration. So in his situation, I would say like TRT is not a good idea. I suggested that he bank sperm. And if he wants to go down that rabbit hole, and by the way, I don't think he needs to, because I don't think his levels are like kind of 50th percentile. He's not terribly symptomatic. I would kind of eke out a bit more time, but I would rely on hormones that are going to ramp up his body's production of testosterone, as opposed to just giving him testosterone, which will shut off his body's supply
forever.
No, and it's not something that happens overnight. Like he'd have to be on testosterone for a while before he would shut down his own production. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that? On like that whole thing, especially for 30-year-olds? Do you think it's like good to kind of have that, or do you think it like should be kind of a long road?
I think you got to take every case individually, but if a 30-year-old has testosterone that is so low that it's impacting him, I think you have to start by asking why.
Right.
Like, how bad is his sleep? How bad is his stress? How bad is every other factor going on. I mean, when I finished, when I was, leaving my residency, my testosterone was 227, I think, which is insanely low. That's only 2.5 times higher than a woman.
What?
Yeah.
Is that why doctors' hands are so soft every time you shake them? Damn,
No,
that's crazy.
That's for the rectal exam. So you just don't get
That's true. That's true. You wouldn't want like my dad's.
No,
finger.
but the reason is pretty clear, right? Because I was sleeping 28 to 30 hours a week.
Damn.
Right. So, horrible sleep deprivation is going to make it really difficult to make appropriate levels of testosterone.
And that makes it harder for you to sleep too when your testosterone gets lower?
I think probably a little bit, but the causality is much more in the opposite direction, meaning the horrible sleep is destroying
I see.
the production of testosterone and growth hormone. But of course, at the time, it never occurred to me to do anything about it, and once I, was in a job where I could actually sleep each night, lo and behold, my testosterone kind of normalized.
It peaked up.
Yeah.
What do you think that's a good thing for people to actually look at? Because I always get the feeling that like if you even go into one of those places, they're going to hard sell you and you'll be on the tee like before you know it.
I think you should not go to. I'm trying to think of the right analogy. If you walk into a store that only sells hammers, everything's a nail.
Yeah.
Right. So I think if you walk into a tea shop and all they do is male hormone optimization, I would say buyer beware.
Yeah.
Because they, even if they internally have the best of intentions, like I just don't think they can get out of their own way. Yeah. I also think you should be very wary of going to a place for any sort of therapy where they're selling you the therapy.
True.
Like if my whole shtick is I'm here to, give you the best hormones or supplements or whatever, and oh, by the way, on your way out, we'll sell them to you. It's just such a conflict of interest.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
so what do you think about the internet companies that are like I did one. I don't know if it's nice to like name it or not, but like the ones that like you mail like stool sample, blood, saliva, and they're like, here's precision supplements for you and you alone. How do you think they're like? How much of that is kind of generic, and do you think some of those companies are really dialed in or like?
I don't doubt that there are ways to kind of sort of optimize supplements around biomarkers. I'm not sure that it's as precise as people want to believe. Yeah. I certainly don't think that. I actually think you can do a lot of supplement optimization off really basic blood work. Like I don't think, certainly, a stool sample is not necessary because most probiotics can't even provide the bacteria you need to impact it. I mean, your diet has a far greater role. Your fiber content has a far greater role on your gut biome and things that you'd be measuring in stool. And obviously saliva, blood, urine can measure things that are relevant and interesting. There aren't that many things that I think are worth taking. Like I think, if you're low in vitamin D and you're not getting enough sunlight, that makes sense, but that's a pretty simple blood test. If your homocysteine is elevated, you probably should take some methylated B vitamins. And if you drop it by more than 5 or 6 points, you're probably doing a lot. If your omega levels are low, fish oil probably helps if you're not willing to eat 3 servings of fish a week.
Right.
But the true basics of this are really simple. And then there's other supplements that probably make sense for most people, and you don't even need to test for them. Like anybody who's active could probably justify taking creatine.
Yeah.
And there's no blood test that's going to tell you whether or not you need it. We just know that, to fill and saturate total body stores, you're going to need 3 to 5 grams per day. So,
Really? That was surprising. That was like something I heard like in college, like, years ago when I'd lift weights. It was like creatine was almost like viewed as like a serious kind of like bodybuilder supplement. Now everything I read is like, no, everyone needs a ton of creatine.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, if you're playing the game of optimizing, you're going to get a benefit, probably about a 10% boost in performance for intensity and like super short intensity, i.e. the creatine phosphate energy system. So kind of like high bursts of, 10-second work, and then anaerobic stuff. It's not going to improve much aerobically, but and you'll also get a little hypertrophy benefit because the muscles will get bigger when they bring more water in.
That makes sense. Yeah, if like my kids are like 7 feet away and they're not listening, I could just fucking run at them.
Easy.
The fuck are you doing?
Easy.
Just hulk them down. Yeah, that's my thing with fitness. A lot of people, and I'm sure I don't know if you've heard this. You're kind of I'm sure your like listenership is very health oriented, but a lot of people get very like, I don't know, like very kind of scoffed. They kind of scoff a lot of this stuff where they're like, who gives a shit? And it's like, and I feel bad because like I do get it. If you're like in a job you hate and you're just totally crushed down by like your life circumstance, having somebody be like, dude, eat a banana and do jumping jacks, you're gonna be like, dude, fuck you. I don't want to think about this. But it also will make your life better. Like I always like, whenever I lose sight of that, whenever I get too into my own like just stuff where I'm like, this isn't going well. I don't have time. If I just take like an hour, even a half an hour, and just like run as fast as I can, it's like I feel like amazing.
Yeah.
And I always say that's like a nice dimension you can add to your life where it's like everyone's like, like I want to get better in my job, blah, blah, blah. It's like just adding that, like time yourself running 100 meters and then try to get a better time next week. It gives you something you're kind of making progress in. And it also, you feel like great as a result.
Yeah. I think this is where kind of social media really distorts reality. And the example you give is a great one, right? So if your health sucks and you're trying to figure out where you're going to find an extra 2 hours a week to do some form of self-care, the last thing you need is some idiot influencer telling you to spend more time in the sauna and cold plunging. Like, I can promise you that is not the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth best use of your time if you only have 2 hours a week.
How would you break it down then?
If you've only got, I would start with let's do the absolute basics of blocking and tackling. So first thing I want to know is, are you getting at least 7 hours of sleep a night? Because if you're not getting at least 7 hours of sleep a night, it's going to be very difficult for you to do anything at your best.
So I don't want to interrupt you. My question with that is, say you are tracking your sleep and you only get like 43 hours of deep sleep every night, even though you go to bed at like a proper time. Does that matter as much of like REM versus deep sleep, or like?
I assume you mean 43 minutes, but
43 minutes.
Yeah.
I wish it's fucking 43 hours.
I only get 43 hours of deep sleep a year. I'm doing the math quickly. Oh god. I don't know. If a person says, I feel really well, and there are these, I link to them in the book. There are a whole bunch of surveys you can get for free that just have you do like, these are validated surveys that kind of go through daytime drowsiness and stuff like that. If you're in bed 7 to 7.5 hours a night, ideally 8, and your little sleep tracker says you're sleeping 7, but you're not happy with your stages, I wouldn't put a lot of stock into that unless you feel that there is a problem.
Got you.
But if you're like, no, I feel fine, and I fill out all the 2 surveys and they said I'm doing fine, ignore the data.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and stop wearing the tracker.
I know. I gotta stop.
Done with the tracker. So
I was checking every day. I'm like, 43 fucking minutes.
Yeah. Like it just creates more anxiety.
It's just red. I see red numbers. And
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
I haven't used one of those in a longer time than I can remember.
Yeah.
So
just do the
then
basics.
the next bucket. Yeah. So then the next bucket I want to know is what's your physical activity level? So let's say this is a person who's got none. They're doing none. And they say, look, I've only got 2 extra hours. I'm putting that entire 2 hours into exercise. So I'm going to say, we're going to do 4 30-minute workouts a week. And, again, I'd have to know more about the person, but it could easily end up being, we're going to do 2 cardio sessions a week. We're going to do 2 strength sessions a week. One of those cardio sessions per week is going to be kind of aerobic base training where you're going at the same intensity the whole time. It's not that high. You can still sort of almost carry out a conversation. It's a little hard to talk, but you could. And then the other cardio session I would do, say 3 days off of that, would be more interval, kind of like what you were describing. So let's get on if you're at a gym and they have one of those like, air bikes, do something there, be on a treadmill, be outside. It doesn't really matter. Like the goal, like this person will get so much benefit from 2 hours a week of exercise that it almost doesn't matter what they do. And then the other 2 days a week, I'd have them do 2 30-minute whole body workouts at a gym where they never stop moving.
Okay.
So if you're doing it at home, it might be push-ups, pull-ups, wall sits, something like that. If you're at the luxury of being at a gym, you might just rotate machine to machine to machine and never stop. And that would just bring huge dividends. And then the last thing I'd do is, in addition to that, is just do a quick audit of their diet.
Yeah.
Are you overweight? Are you adequate weight? Are you underweight? That determines whether you need to eat more or less. And then are you getting enough protein? And honestly, like I wouldn't make it much more detailed than that. And so look, with just a little bit of that insight, you've made better use of 2 hours a week. You've got them to stop worrying about their sleep. You've maybe changed 3 little things in their diet. I promise you that person in 3 months is going to feel significantly better. And then maybe, by the way, at that point, they're like, you know what? I wouldn't mind doing 3 hours a week of this exercise
Right.
thing because I'm feeling kind of good. And you know what? I kind of want to dial the diet in a little bit more. But again, the problem is too many people are consuming information that says, oh my God, you need to be on this supplement. You need to be on this supplement. You need to be doing 30 minutes of this type of sauna and 20 minutes of this type of cold plunge. And people are like, shut up.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, and to be clear, I love sauna and I love cold plunge.
Sure.
But it is like the 20th thing on my list of 21 things that is a part of my routine.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. That's actually cool to hear because it is like the solution is pretty basic and simple, and that's a thing that gets me bummed out when like because I do think we live, and I could just be wrong, but I feel like we live in a pretty nihilistic kind of age, and it's like it does suck when that spreads. It's like a physical nihilism. Like, what the fuck's the point of even? It's like, dude, you'll feel so much better if I don't work out. I get depressed. It's like A to B easily. If I don't do it for like 2 weeks, I'm just like depressed and sad, and it's like, and if you don't do it, it's just you feel terrible, and I always like to try to, like just get up and move your fucking body, man. There's so much, it's so much better than
we were meant to move.
We were.
And meant to be outside. That might be the other thing I would add is figure out a way to do something outdoors, like whether it's a quick walk or incorporate some of that exercise outdoors.
You know what I started doing? Skateboarding. At my ripe old age of 38, I started.
Took it out.
I just took it back. I've been doing it when I was little, I just started it, and it's weird doing. That's a real eye opener when you take an activity you did in childhood effortlessly. You're like, let me try this again at 38. Dude, I swear I burnt 900 something calories. I skateboarded for an hour and 20 minutes, and I was dying.
That's
like,
awesome.
Cardio wise, I was just doing like a little pump track where you kind of just like ride up on a wall. Dude, I thought I was gonna die. I used to do this all day when I was younger. Now I'm like, it's like a real eye opener to be like, all right, where am I at? Because I do feel like, especially, I guess men and maybe women do it too, but men specifically over index. Like, I'm good. And it's like, try something that you did when you were younger, and you're like, holy shit, I'm gonna. My heart rate was at like 170 the whole time, just skateboarding, and I was barely pushing. I just had to like balance myself on this track. And it was amazing though. I agree with you. It's like find something to do and just kind of, I don't know. I feel like I do feel like we get too tunnel visioned into like the career stuff, and it's like you need to do that to survive. But it's like the sacrifice of hours of time for like the quote unquote rest time into like physical activity just pay dividends and all the other things you're trying to do anyway. But
yeah,
I always sound like a broken record, but I'm like, dude, it's so important, man. It really is. So yeah, skateboarding's awesome. We should go one time. Do you skate?
Nope, I do not at all.
Have you ever?
Nope. And it's funny. I mean, growing up, I was certainly of that age when a lot of kids were skateboarding. I don't know why it just never appealed to me.
Yeah.
I was sort of busy in my own little world. My daughter did for a little bit. She's 16 now, but she did probably like when she was 12, 10, 11, 12, she was pretty into it. The coolest thing I've picked up recently, though it's not a physical activity, but I'm freaking obsessed with it, is chess.
Really?
Holy cow.
How are you pretty good?
No, I'm horrible. I mean,
I'm
I'm
pretty
just
bad.
learning,
I tried.
but I love it. Like I can't stop playing. I just can't stop.
Who are you playing against?
I'm just playing my boys.
Really?
Literally, just the three of us.
Phone
just go back
chess
and forth.
or
no,
physical
like on
chess?
the board.
That's good. Yeah.
Writing down every move, studying our moves after.
Really?
Like nerding out, watching YouTube videos. I'm obsessed with this guy, Magnus Carlsen, who's the best chess
I've
player
heard
in the
of him,
world.
actually, yeah.
Dude, I can't stop watching chess porn.
Really?
Can't stop.
That's awesome.
Can't stop.
That's awesome.
You know how YouTube figures out what you're about? Like
Yes.
my videographer for our podcast, he pulls me aside like 3 weeks ago, goes, are you getting into chess? And I'm like, how do you know? He goes, because like I'm managing our YouTube channel and like it only populates it's just like pushing chess stuff all day.
That's
And I was
awesome.
like, yeah, dude, I can't stop.
It is good for your
I
brain,
stay up
though.
at night like watching chess videos.
Do
It's
you
awful.
really?
Oh, it's awful. I'm like, it's 9:30. I should go to bed.
What's your opening move? What do you go with?
Oh, I'm typically like E4. You know, I like to castle really early. So I'm going to try to castle within about within 4 or 5 moves if I'm doing a kingside castle.
Really?
Yeah.
I like the first move, the horse, just over your pawns and be like, what's up?
Yeah.
It's called, there's a name for it. I forget what
There
it's called.
is,
It's like
yeah,
the English or something, but
Horse.
the horse. I just fucking bang. Here's my motherfucking horse.
Yeah. No, the knight's cool because again, he can hop over people.
You
It's
move in
awesome.
that fucked up L-shaped pattern. But yeah, I love chess too. That is fun. I just say, I don't have anyone to play it with. That's the thing. It's like, it's how long does a chess game take?
One of my boys is super aggressive, so the games are quick because he just comes
Really?
out swinging.
Does he really?
Oh, he swings.
I like that.
He goes for the fences.
Does he?
And then the other one is so conservative and so thoughtful that the games take like so long. And I got us a little timer too. So I'm like, buddy,
That's
you have
nice. Yeah.
2 hours to make the first 40 moves or you're disqualified.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, you got to think on your feet.
And the younger one, the one who's super aggressive, is so competitive. Like if anyone in our family ever makes it and becomes like great, it's him. Because you can't like the fire is insane.
Really?
When he loses, he tears up his sheets, and I'm like, buddy, you shake my hand, and we had a good game. And he's like, and he's just losing his mind that he lost a game of chess.
It's war. Yeah, it's war. Is it true that the possibilities of the chessboard are kind of infinite?
They
in a
are
way?
truly infinite.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a computationally infinite problem.
Damn.
Or as close to, I mean, I shouldn't say infinite, right? In that AI can,
Yeah.
but it's from a practical perspective, I think it's infinite.
Damn. That's awesome. That is cool. I'm going to try it. My kids are too young for that. Me and my daughter did
Your oldest is 6?
4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
4. 6 is doable.
6 is
4,
totally doable.
I did chess. We did one of those big ones. We were on vacation. And we did one of those those like huge outdoor chess boards with the big pieces.
Yeah.
We did it, and I tried with my 4-year-old, and by the end of it, it was like the mommy and daddy were the queen and king were mommy and daddy, and the pawns were all of our babies. And I was like, all right, man, what the hell, this sucks. But yeah, man, that is amazing.
I once made the mistake of in a game, like one of my older one, the one who's more conservative, like he had a rook, knight, bishop in the back that hadn't moved, and it was like 25 moves in, and I'm like, buddy, those guys over there are standing there like they got their thumbs up their butts. And now those 2 boys cannot stop saying that. They just walk around anytime someone's not moving, why do you have your thumb up your butt? And my wife's like, why do you say this stuff to them? Like, you can't say anything like that. They're just going to say whatever you say.
I know. It's weird. It's weird because my 4-year-old is like language police in our house. She like will learn that something's bad, and then she's just like horrified of the idea of saying it. And she's like, if she hears us saying anything like we even say the word hate, I don't know this wasn't a rule for us, but I hate that. She'll be like, don't say that. And she like polices our language. If we say like that, my wife said freaking the other day, and she's like, Mom, that's a bad word.
It's a bad word. Yeah.
Like, no, it's not. And she's like, and I was arguing. My wife's like, no, just give her that one. She's like, it's pretty nuts. But yeah, that is true. They do parrot everything. You really do got to watch what you say, because you can say whatever you want around them for the longest time, and eventually you're like, oh shit, you can talking shit on my neighbors. You can hear this. You can hear this right now.
Our youngest one, when this is the super aggressive one, so it's not surprising. I think when he was like 3, we get a call from the preschool, and they're like, yeah, you got to come and get him. My wife's like, what's going on? They're like, he said the F word.
Whoa.
My wife's like, oh, I'll be right there, but
they made you get him for that?
Yeah, I'm like, this is a misunderstanding. And my wife's like, first of all, the kid is obsessed with rhyming. So he almost assuredly was like, truck, fuck, or something like that. And the woman is like, no. He's actually the first kid we've ever heard use it properly.
Oh, no.
They're like, what was the situation? And they're like, well, he was in circle time, and we were telling all the kids they had to be quiet, and he wasn't being quiet. And we're like, hey, if you're not quiet, you're going to have to get up and leave. And he wouldn't be quiet. So we got up and made him leave, and he stood up apparently and just goes, fuck it. And then walked and got out of the corner.
Like, that's a coincidence.
Yeah. I'm like, I think he learned that from his mom.
Yeah, my daughter nailed she dropped something one time when she was really little, and she was like, shit. And I was like, damn it. That was right on
That's
the money.
on me. Yeah.
I was like, that was right on the money.
Yeah.
So they made you, it was like a 1-day suspension?
Yeah, it was like he's on probation now. I mean, it was like, we ended up finding another preschool for him that he did great in.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's insane to like be like, you got to come get this kid.
Yeah.
Although that could spread like wildfire amongst other people.
Yeah, I guess I can see it from their point as well.
No, that's lame. That's crazy to be like, he must leave right now. But I think they got to let that kind of stuff go. That is tricky though, man, because especially that age, it's like kids hit other kids, and like, some people are like, this is like, you can't. It's like, but I don't know. I treat it like the dog park. It's like, they'll figure it out, man. If it's really bad,
there's got to be enough discomfort in the situation for the kids to evolve.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, because it's like, dude, you gotta they're gonna do that, man. It's like, me and my cousin got separated, and we were in kindergarten together, and then we went to the same school the next year, and they were like, AM class, BM class, they can't be They can't be with each other at all. But I thought that turned out all right. So before you get out of here, we're coming up on where are we at right now, Josh? I don't want to keep you too long. Huh? 45. Perfect. The one thing that I feel like was in the book a lot, you talked about how, and again, always correct me if I'm wrong, because I have stuff in my head. Stress was something was really on the back burner that you kind of put to kind of like the forefront of your thinking from like the day to day and a health perspective. Where do you kind of stand on that? And like, what's like, do you have any thoughts on that at all?
When I think about like, what is the thing that's going to kill me fastest? I think it's undoubtedly stress. I just think I think it's the most insidious killer in a way because it's the hardest thing to measure directly. Mm-hmm. You can sort of measure some of its indirect actions, like on blood pressure and blood sugar, which both go in the wrong direction when stress is high. But I think there's even components of it that just, even when blood sugar and blood pressure are normal, I still think it's just doing something to your brain, probably, and to your heart. And again, I don't think anybody would feel good living in a zero stress environment. Mm-hmm. So it's mostly just about kind of managing how one responds to it. And I think it goes beyond just stress. I think it's sort of like just overall like satisfaction in life and contentment and, enjoying your relationships with people. I interviewed this guy on my podcast, Bill Perkins, who wrote this incredible book. It's one of my favorite books. It's called Die with Zero. Mm-hmm. And he writes about how you have basically you have time, you have money, and you have experiences. And he talks about it through health. So health, time, and money.
Okay.
And you're not optimizing for the most of any one of those. You're optimizing for the net of fulfillment.
Okay.
So too many people miss that, right? They're just like working really, really hard to get as much money as possible or as much fame as possible. Or they're like maniacally focused on their health. That's the only thing they think about.
Right.
Or they're just trying to, live as long as possible or make as much time for certain things. But it's kind of like how you put all those things together to optimize around fulfillment. So in this book, he writes about this idea of like people aren't doing the equation correctly. They're deferring too many experiences when they're young to do when they're old, but then they don't realize when they're old, their health is actually they're not actually able to do it when they have all the money in the world.
Yeah.
They can't go and take the incredible vacation, or if they can, their kids aren't with them or their kids aren't young. So I think it's just kind of reframed a lot in my mind and made me realize that, when our kids are young and we are incredibly healthy, that should be the time that we invest more in fulfillment and experiences as a family. Which has just been a completely different mindset for me from where I was most of my life.
Yeah. Just going kind of like full blast. Make as much money as possible.
Sleep when I'm dead.
That's the big one. Sorry about that bug, dude. That bug won't leave you alone. It hasn't even come over to me at all.
I must stink.
Yeah, that is kind of a cool thing too, man. Because it's also something you don't really learn. Like nobody really tells you how to manage your stress. You kind of mostly, from what I gather, you kind of just like watch your parents deal with stress and you're like, all right. And you just kind of like take those patterns and just apply them to your life. And it's like, it really does like, what I've been trying to do recently is like, just take one day out of the week. Usually it's Sunday because like we're all off, everyone's hanging out. And I just try to focus on like being as calm and at ease. That's like top priority of my day. Usually it's like, I got to get this done. I got to this done. And like on one day a week, I'll be like, I'm only focused today. My number one goal is to try to like stay in a state of like ease and kind of contentment. And if I get out of it, I like before I'm like, I just try to zero in on that. And that's been kind of like, for me, that's been like a bit of a revelation to be like, oh, I can move through like multiple days without completely spinning myself the fuck out. And, it's been, I don't know, it's been kind of nice.
And what do you think spins you out? Is it just busy? It's too much?
Yeah, it's
or
too
is there
much.
A particular thing?
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything. It could be my kids not listening, kind of spins me out if I'm like trying to get up the steps and it takes 40 minutes and I'm kind of like, all right, let's go. Could be anything. Could be like overwhelmed, like just like situations at work I got to deal with that are just completely overwhelming. Stuff in the house, it's just like lack of sleep. Because our kids are still so little that like our sleep gets fucked up. But yeah, it is. It's usually like relational stress or just like work stuff. Those are the two main things that kind of like can really spin me out.
And I would argue that most work stress is relational as well. So I kind of agree. I think relationships are both the best part of life and the most stressful part of life.
Yeah, I agree. So that's been my.
That's what's going on here, by the way. A lot of relational stress in that film. I can tell you right now.
That is true. But yeah, that's kind of the thing, man. It's like, well, this is my whole point. Is like you do have some say in how much a thing can everything can floor you. Things come out of nowhere, and you're like, you get caught in it. But just learning how to be like, all right, something got me. It's like laser tag. Like my thing's beeping. I can kind of walk myself through this without like going on like a Godzilla path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. That's been pretty helpful for me. Before I get caught, that's my ultimate fate. She's like, babe, I'm having a naked picnic with a prostitute. She's right there and they're coming out of the water, just hawking me.
It's not what it looks like.
But yeah, that is the number one, man. It's like, dude, it's like managing stress, keeping yourself physically fit, because you can't like. Otherwise, like, what the fuck are we doing, man? It's like, it's like unless I mean, some people are just surviving, which is kind of that sucks. But I don't know. I feel like I feel like people. There's other countries where people are just surviving. They still do cool stuff.
Yeah.
They like big ornate jugs of water and they carry it around. They like dance and stuff. I don't know. It's kind of sick. I'm just trying to make people happy. I don't know how to do it. Well, dude, I mean, is there anything else that's kicking in your mind?
I don't think so.
Well, I think you did it. Thank you for coming and doing this. I
Thank you for having
apologize
me.
for the strange format, but how do you feel about standing in podcasting?
I think it's
by the way?
hilarious. I think it is. This is the first standing podcast I've ever done.
Bro, it's not bad. How do you feel about it? Honestly, you can hurt my feelings if you
Honestly,
don't like it.
I think I have better posture than I normally do.
That's what I'm saying. When you're sitting on a podcast, you kind of like slouching forward.
Yeah.
Standing keeps you on your feet. It keeps the mind sharper.
Like, I feel like we're doing a political debate the way they're angled at each other too. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I need a moderator to ask me a question. That's the only thing that it would have been a little better if it was moderated. If this discussion was moderated.
That's a good
and more heated.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. I want to work on being.
I wouldn't mind a teleprompter next time if you wouldn't mind.
Teleprompter is nice.
So I want a teleprompter there, moderator there, a little more.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we could bring some heat.
Yeah.
We could bring some heat to this. If you want the heat, I have some burning hot questions. I didn't ask them. They're about a lawsuit. So I was like, I don't. Why can't everyone? You can't talk about lawsuits. No one can ever talk about them.
I know the lawyers say no.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
What's the point? Bring awareness.
Bring awareness.
Yeah, I did. I was researching just, when you have someone on
Yeah,
and I saw you're embroiled in a lawsuit and I said, hell yeah, dude. That's what's up. So, but we won't. I mean, the lawyers won't like that. That is bullshit. You can't talk. I mean, dude, don't do it. But that is like, why? What the fuck's the problem? I don't know. Whatever. But anyway. Well, dude, thank you. Dude, is there anything you want to plug? Is there the book? Obviously, read the book, dude.
Read the book, listen to the podcast.
Peter, to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You're the man.